A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and Waste Options. Monday night motorsport, night one of week 3 of term 1 for 2026. The Okayama International Circuit, the venue. Super Formula Light, the first cab off the rank tonight. We, of course, need to get stuck into what is going to be a very busy night for us here because it's the third week and it's a 3-race program. You get your first look at the Pro-Am and the Am splits in GT3 tonight. That's the lay of the land after 2 rounds. Marcus Watson, a formidable start of the season from him. 3 podium finishes in as many starts. Dan Yeaman, 27 points away at the moment. Ryan Jones and Scott Hasler very closely in proximity to him at this point in time. Scott Hasler and also then, of course, Brendan Grosh, Liam Banks, Aaron Cooper, Luke Brooker, Siobhan McKernan and David Baz making up the top 10. No time to run through the grid, really, because they're about to take off here. We'll bring that weather radar back up in just a moment, that graphic on the right-hand side of your screen. But Watson and Chapman in the front row, Yeaman and Leach the second, Grosh and Heppel the third. Then you go back to Nixon, Hasler, Jones and Humphreys, the top 10. A little bit tight for time at the top tonight. We'll explain why in just a moment. There's the rest of the grid for you. It's a 27-deep grid tonight for you. In Japan, we go Oriental for the first time this season. Let's go to work at Okayama. Great start. Brendan Grosh down the inside. Up to 4th he goes. Heppel a good jump too. So too Connor Nixon. Guy Leach has lost out and there's trouble at the back. And Heppel's also off the road around the corner at turn 3. Oh, they've somehow missed him. I don't know how. Boy, oh boy, 3 wide on the run down towards the hairpin for you. Our first hit out of February for you, ladies and gentlemen. And what a night it promises to be because we're off to Shell V-Power Motorsport Park for the GT3s once we're done here. Marcus Watson continuing his dominance in this series at the moment. A first and a second last week in the first sprint round of the season at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Motorsport Canada. And now we'll, as we go back into the second of our single race rounds of this season, remember there are 5 2-race sprint rounds for you. We'll be looking to repeat what we saw at Road America a couple of weeks back, in which he was a postcode up the road from everybody else. Apologies too, a couple of things. Adam had to scramble to get some tech stuff sorted for the on-air presentation side of things, and I had a headphone issue that I think I'll hopefully be able to sort out before the end of the night, but for the moment I'm on the alternate setup for a GSRC broadcast. But at least we're able to get on air, and at least we've got power on like we did in week 1, but unlike what we had last week, so there shouldn't be any driver changes between this and GT3, but a big thanks to Dan Yeaman for deputising for me last week. The other thing as well, apologies too if I'm sounding a little bit hoarse, so I was in Canberra over the weekend, the nation's capital, for round 1 of the Dunlop Kart Stars series for 2026. Good weekend of racing, but it's, worn the voice box out a little bit this early in the season. Good hit out, and looking forward to another trip down there in 5 weeks' time. Have a look at this. The jockeying for positions now. Connor Nixon up 3 spots early on, got by Guy Leach. Hasler and Healy also big movers early on. That was Guy Leach, I think, having a little bit of a moment there. Healy's gone past him, so too Hasler. Humphreys back to 9th place now. Good to see Adam Lavis. Good evening to you. A couple of new names on this grid in week 3.
Yeah, we've got plenty of new names throughout the season so far. It's good to see you. Just with the Porsche Cup, which we'll hopefully catch up later in the week. We'll talk about that a bit later. But so far, round 1, we had 24 brand new drivers, and last week we had 16. So if that continues, and we've had to split it up into 3 splits now. So for this coming week, to be 3 servers for the Porsche Cup, like the GT3. So again, I think that's where sort of the bulk of the influx is coming in. But yeah, just a bunch of new names, fresh faces, fresh year. Good to see.
Pretty wide down the back straight. It's a tight circuit. So you've got to be careful. I mean, open wheel racing lends itself probably better to this circuit than tin top racing. We've seen enough evidence of that in the past. But still, you've got to work hard for your overtaking opportunities. That is one of the key positions on the racetrack in which you can. Yes. Johnny Simpson echoing the sentiments of most people that saw the new intro back in week 1. Well done to Grant Gill for his work on that. The good thing about the asterisks there is you've left 4 Johnnies. So whether you were going to start, they're 4-letter words either way, whether you're going to start with an S or an F, and people can interpret that whichever way they please. I like it. And hello to our Western Australian audience still enjoying afternoon tea at this point. Marcus Watson leads from Sam Chapman and Dan Yeaman and Connor Nixon and Mark Hilly, the top 5. You've got to work hard for your overtaking opportunities around here, and you've also got to work very hard to lose the toe, lose the slipstream, lose the would-be attackers behind you and beside you. It's one of those circuits where, particularly in the open wheelers, they can stay pretty well bunched up, especially when they're so evenly paced like this. Again, 3 wide, but again, you're seeing a little bit of caution. Guy Leach has run up wide. In terms of the approach to the corner, they know they can go 3 wide down the back straight. They know that they've got to sort it out and be 2 at least by 2, not 3 by 3 going into the corner. There will be a splash and dash requirement here, as we saw at Road America. Replay of the start. Brad Hudson. Yeah, that was a little bit too ambitious, I would have thought, but that set off a chain reaction behind him. Chris Henn down at the end of the back straight. Great numbers in Super Formula Light again this season. The Australian Open World National qualifying series for us on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Actually, that just reminded me, there's another talking point that I've got to run by Adam Lavis and co at the end of this broadcast. Hello, Aidan Schultz. Good evening to you, mate. Actually, I saw something you posted on social media the other day, and I think I hit the like button on it. I echo your sentiments about what we do and what we share on social media. Even I am sharing less on social media these days than I ever used to, and I used to live on the bloody thing. Mark Heppel's got himself a black flag already on lap 5. Interesting. John Baldwin, Leslie Reeves and Luke Brooker all on pit road. Marcus Watson continues to lead and already 2.6 seconds to the good. On Dan Yeaman, Sam Chapman is 3rd, Mark Hilly is 4th. So the championship form guide reads true. We didn't get a chance to have a look. Oh, trouble, Brendan Grosh. It's out of the top 10 with that spin. And you pay heavily for mistakes at this circuit. And he'll be chasing his tail to try and salvage a top 10 at some point throughout the course of the evening. If he can work his way back through the field, he'll work hard if he can salvage a top 10 here. I think that would be about the pass mark for him, given what's just happened. Jackson Fischler with a slowdown. Mechanical black flag for Gary Cousins. Good to see him back on the grid. Good to see Leslie Reeves on the grid, but unfortunately that mechanical black flag will rule Leslie out of business for the moment. Adam, can we have a look at the trackside conditions, please? I didn't get a chance to run through that because we're so tight for time off the top there. 19 degrees the ambient, 22 on track, partly cloudy conditions. Winds to the northwest at 9 kilometres an hour, ever changing as we go here. Brendan Grosh under pressure now with Mark Heppel. Heppel, of course, with the black flag next to his name. Grosh is going to go through. Nicely done. February 2, 2026. Spare a thought for NASCAR fans. They would have been looking forward to today, the NASCAR clash, even though it's a little bit of a, dicky sort of setup they have for the clash these days. It's not the wide open spaces of Daytona, which I much prefer. I don't get the fascination of putting high horsepower, big muscly cars on a rubbish little, quarter miler or whatever it is that they're doing at the Bowman Stadium there, but they've been snowed out. Part of the Tempest weather system, I haven't seen snow on the iRacing platform yet, but that'll be the next implementation. But yes, if you've not caught up with the news, the clash from Bowman will be Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Western, midday in New Zealand, on the back of the 3-day postponement due to unseasonable snow weather and snowstorm conditions over there in the United States. And then, of course, they head on to Daytona for the 500. How big a weekend for sport is that in 2 weeks' time? Live Golf Adelaide, Winter Olympics Milano Cortina, T20 World Cup, Sail GP, I think, is in New Zealand that weekend, Daytona 500, and somewhere in the middle, I think they're doing a 12-hour tour of famous venue in the central west of New South Wales. So, trouble! David Baz going to the side of Heppel. Colby Ashmore's capitalised on that as well. So it'll be an early start for motor racing fans both Sunday and Monday with regards to all of that. Marcus Watson, Dan Yeaman, the top two at the moment. Sam Chapman has fallen back into third. He's in the clutches of Connor Nixon at the moment, and Ashmore's down there on the inside. And still we see Heppel out there on the circuit under pressure from Brad Hudson here. But Adam Lavis, I'm wondering, I've got this nasty feeling that if Heppel doesn't come in this time by, they're just going to throw him out.
Yeah, I think he's bite out one more. I think it was Heppel ran the gauntlet on the Wednesday night as well, where we were wondering, because he got to a point where we weren't sure if he was going to have enough fuel to do his pit lap and a drive-through at the same time. But it looks like he's. I'm assuming he'll be in this lap theoretically.
Don't forget as well, for the benefit of those of you playing along at home, great to, of course, be at the back end of the Australian Open now, but unfortunately today marks a bit of a sore point in the Australian cultural calendar, because if you're watching the 9 network between now and about 9:30 local time, or Eastern Daylight Time for those of you that are watching this broadcast live, it is local time rollout in other markets, of course, so there's a bit of a staggered delay on that, especially if you're in WA. But it's that annual 2-month period now in which the IQ of the nation just slightly evaporates and declines. Unless you're watching Australian Idol on the 7 network, of course, and the wonderful Amy Shark. I've got it recording. I'll be watching that and home and away as soon as the broadcast is done here. Lap 9. Already 12 minutes into this race. What are we looking at time-wise? 1 minute 20 is about where we're at. So 1:22 is 2:43 is 4, 4, 8, 6, 7, 8, 7, 3, sorry, 21, 7 by 4 is 28. So, and then 29:30. So you're probably looking at 23 laps race distance tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Probably looking at 23 laps. We're only 9 through. Yes, the Oscar Series being very well supported at the moment, Johnny Simpson. And of course, we're just looking forward to being able to hopefully bring you some racing from the Porsche Cup and the GT4s as well in due course. If you're not caught up with what's been going on in GSRC land, we're a little bit short on resources. It's a bit of a skeletal structural setup at the moment in terms of our broadcasting unit, but hats off to Joe Baldwin and Liam Banks, who are flying the flag on the Friday night for us, and of course Adam and Dan Yeaman have been teaming up on a Wednesday night, and I've put my hat in the ring after this week. I can't help out this week. I can't help the boys this week because I've got the Ipswich Jet season launch, which I've been asked to MC on Wednesday night. Still waiting for more information to come through regarding that, funnily enough. But Wednesday night that's on, and then on the back of that, I'm going to make myself available until such time as we've got a a bit more of a fruitful setup in the broadcast ranks to team up with Dan Yeaman. So Yeaman will slide from lead commentary into producer-director, and I'll slide in and do the comms alongside him, so that our good mate here, Adam Lavis, the life member of the Hall of Famer of the GSRC, he can go about his business and actually go and have a steer for a change. So he'll be out there on track within a couple of weeks. Colby Ashmore off the road in the dirt and in the wall. Oh, he kept that off the wall.
Missed the drifter, just missed everything.
How has he been able to do that? Jesus. Fine margins. Wow. Have a look at it from the onboard. Watch this, folks. This is a lucky escape if ever there was one. The perfect drift does exist. Wow. Go and buy yourself a lotto ticket, Colby. I think you've earned it. Or maybe you've used up all your luck in that moment right there. I'm not sure. Great to have you along for the ride, folks. Of course, we've got a massive night ahead. GT3 from Casa de Shahin follows this. The GAM split race first up, the Pro-Am race second up. We're, of course, bringing you the first of 4 sprint rounds in GT3. So we hope you can stay with us. And by the way, a bit of an Australian swing for this series. 3 rounds in the space of 4 weeks on home turf. So there's plenty to look forward to. Half race distance has come and gone. We're on lap 12. So again, happy to say that the mathematics of this are working out quite nicely for me. I'm happy with that. 11 and a half minutes gone. Sorry, 15 and a half minutes gone and 11 and a half laps gone. And Daniel Yeaman is in second spot at the moment, but the good thing for Yeaman is he's got breathing space. These guys, however, are still sorting themselves out. So Jack Humphreys is in this picture, and Adam Funslow, and Ryan Jones is at the back of that shot. We're right on board with Jonesy right now on the subject of broadcasters. For simrigs.com DPR. Good to see Simrigs getting on board with the DPR racing stable for 2026. Or 1914 as it is for our Queensland audience. And interesting to see over the course of the weekend on that note, it hit my inbox whilst I was in the nation's capital. Another petition regarding the time difference has been launched and lodged. It is calling for submissions and signatures, of which I've rallied a few troops today, I must say, and added my signature to the dotted line of that one. In fact, I think I was signature 1399, so already up to 1400, which is good to see. Now, Ryan Jones Brendan Grosh around the outside and gets by Broden Friend. So that's a nice move from Grosh. Remember, he's on the comeback trail. Unfortunately for him, he's 24 seconds off the lead, and he's 5 seconds off the next car up the road, which is Chris Henn. So it's a long road back. In fact, if he's to get into the top 10, he's got to catch Guy Leach, who's 7 seconds up the road. Good luck. Good luck. Adam Funslow through. Nicely done. Kevin Wakefield to pit lane. Now, Mark Heppel's on pit road, has been since the end of lap 8. Leslie Reeves, Luke Brooker. Leslie Reeves is out of business. Luke Brooker is a lap down. John Baldwin is the last car on... Actually, no, he's not even on the lead lap now either, because he's been in at the end of lap 4 for a service. Oh, there goes Mark Hilly. There goes Mark Hilly. Zamora's pitted, David Baz, Dylan Rollo, Gary Cousins, John Baldwin, and Kevin Wakefield. They've all stopped at this point. Marcus Watson is obliterating this field. Oh, there goes Mark Hilly again. There goes Mark Hilly again at turn 1 this time. That helps out Ryan Jones. Jonesy's up into... Oh, Hilly's gone on dirty tyres. That's what's brought him undone that time through, and he's done. He says, you know what? I've had a gutful of this. This is where it all started. So he's either got a puncture to go with the dirt, because the dirt takes a bit to shake off,
and then
he's gone into the next corner at him.
He just touched the grass, and he just touched the grass on the corner turning, and it just seemed wide. He had so many little instances, I wasn't sure which one did for the replay.
Dale Sharp, thinking of you, mate. Hopefully the little fella's all right in the long run, but obviously that explains why we won't be seeing you on the grid tonight. Good to have you tuning in regardless. Hopefully you got the power pack with you so you can keep the power on the phone for more than one reason. One, stay in touch with other family members wanting to know about that situation, but also being able to stay tuned into us for the sake of your aforementioned sanity. There's Jack Humphreys in the Oracle Red Bull liveried Super Formula lights, exiting stage left down at the bottom of the circuit.
Doesn't take long for the community to get the new liveries in.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. It's a full-time job doing paint schemes and sticker kits. I'm sure of it. Let's go Watson is the memo from Jade and Brando. Although I reckon that handle probably carries on behind the time marker there, guys. So apologies for that. Your name's half cut off, but that's okay. We'll continue on. 20 minutes gone. Marcus Watson, Dan Yeaman, Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon, and Scott Hasler at the top 5. The good thing for Watson is that he's 7 seconds to the good, so no one's threatening him tonight. There he is on screen. Right, as we said, the big change term on term is that he's now part. He's skipped around a little bit. There's been a little bit of musical chairs going on, but he now finds himself as part of the Project 36 stable. Dan Yeaman is a comfortable second. However, that margin that he enjoyed over Sam Chapman has diminished. Chapman's now to within 2 seconds. And on the defensive here, because he's got Connor Nixon closing in on him, but they're also navigating their way around lap traffic as well. That lap traffic was Johnny Baldwin. Thank you, Adam. Watson's just gone. So Hilly and Heppel on pit road, and both done for the night. 2 more retirements, so that's 3 now in total. 24 drivers still racing, which means 24 to score championship points. We paid at 25th. 75% race distance of 23 will be, well, comfortably 18 laps. No questions about that. So everybody on track to meet that quota, or that requirement at this point. Can you believe it's February already? Where the hell did January go? Turn around twice, blink once, and it's gone. We've got another 10 months of frantic competition ahead of us here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Looking forward to that. Hopefully everybody in the state of New South Wales enjoyed their first day back at school, whether that was on Friday or today. My news feed this morning just full of those wanky sort of first day at school photos, those proud parent moments. I didn't get one from my family. My niece started year 5 today. Normally we get a photo, but nothing's come through so far. So those token little Kodak moments that you used to go and buy the film specifically for, and now we just take them on the mobile phones. So yeah, all those. I don't know if it's so much the proud parent factor or the sense of relief that school's back and they've now got a bit of peace and quiet in the house between 9 and 3 in the daytime. Probably both. Watson, Yeaman, Chapman, Nixon, Hasler, then Funslow, Jones, Leach, Hen, and Grosh the top 10. 7.5 minutes to go, 3/4 race distance. Dan Yeaman, fastest lap of the race, incidentally. I'm in the 20.350, only 0.032 faster than Marcus Watson's, but the difference is that Watson has just been consistently in the 20s. That last time around, Watson a 1 minute 20.6 and Yeaman a 21.3. He put 7 tenths on him that last time through. His lead is nearly 10 seconds. He's looking good for his 3rd win of the season. Only a catastrophic disaster takes it away from him now. Well, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. There are some Pro Series. Well, it depends which Pro Series you're talking about, guys. Because there's a few of them in the sim racing, arena of late. There's the V8 Pro Series. There's the Porsche Pro Invitational that's coming up. And that's just from what I know as far as the ASRG guys are concerned. Pro Series GT3 here for the GSRC. There's a lot of different Pro Series doing the rounds, and that's just in the Australian sim racing market, let alone anything else. Main straight, a little bit of dust being picked up there by Pistol Pete Matson. Good to have him back on the grid. .14th right now, and that's because Jack Humphries is in pit lane. Most of this field yet to stop. You can see it on the left-hand side of your screen there, folks. Everyone down to Pete in 14th, as well as Edward Rollo and Jackson Fischler. So that's 2/3 of the cars that are still running in this race that are yet to stop. And that was Jack Humphries having a moment and then losing the front wing and getting on the tow road. So he's got some damage to contend with there. Broken Friend to the left-hander. And then he's going to get out of shape through the right-hander. Is he? No. Is it the left-hander?
Well, there was a car that passed Jack as he spun, but also a lap car, and I was trying to see how close it was.
Guy Leach.
Black flag.
Guy Leach, black flag. And done. Pit lane entry, I think, has maybe sprung in. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
every day of the week. Every day of the week.
Because he's got wide there, it's going to give him an unsafe entry. Well, he's also sped, so he's got a double whammy. If it's not one, it's the other.
Yeah, exactly right. When it rains, it pours, you could say.
Oh, on the fence.
Oh, in the wall. Colby Ashmore. Ashmore's race is run. And the attrition climbs once more. Wowee.
Oh, it's just a...
Gravel.
Well, that's either a hardware failure or something's going on because he's parked it. So I think it's a hardware failure of some sort, maybe a VR set.
And he did well because it's pulled up that slightly that it's actually not hit the wall in the first place. There'll be a slowdown for Wakefield. One of the interesting things for mine, right, just going back to the first day at School Caper, and the reason I used the word that I did with that, there's another reason for it, and you will have observed this over the course of time, Adam. There's, because of all this political correctness talk surrounding, online safety and child safety and all that sort of stuff. It's always an interesting observation for mine. Those that leave the school logos plastered all over the picture, and those that have, photoshopped it so that it's not visible. And it was about 50-50 down the line today as far as my mutual friends were concerned. Marcus Watson, Daniel Yeaman, Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon and Scott Hasler, the top 5 here. Adam Funslow, Chris Hanna and Brendan Grosh, the next 3 through. Watson on pit road. Everybody else looks like they're going on for another lap here. Have a look at how tight this battle is for Sam Chapman, for Connor Nixon, and for Dan Yeaman. Not much in it. And this is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the car race. Chapman has now caught Yeaman. It'll be interesting to see what Yeaman's take on this race is when he joins us for a chat afterwards. Because Chapo, we know Adam Lavis, we've seen it so many times before. You've witnessed it out there on the racetrack with him so many times before. He's, buried in the pack at the start. I mean, that wasn't necessarily the case tonight. He started 2nd anyway, but he lost the jump. He lost all that ground, and then he's just slowly chipped away at it. Over the course of a long run, Chapo usually gains more than he loses. And he's managed to obviously nurse the car and look after it a little bit better than Yeaman and be able to reel in that deficit and set themselves up for a make or break on pit lane. And another aspect of that is we know that Chapo doesn't mind a fuel save either. So if he's been up to his usual tricks, expect him to leapfrog Yeaman here on pit road.
Indeed, but I'm not sure. I didn't hear him.
Well, actually, hang on. Are they even going to bother to stop? Are they trying to fuel save this to the end? There's only 2 laps to go. If they don't stop now, they're done.
I did hear earlier when we were on board with Chapo that he was clutching every chance he got. So that could be what the game is here, which will not be Marcus Watson's preferred situation. Although he is only 7 seconds behind.
I haven't seen the updated regs for this season because that info sheet I think is still update or correct to term 4 of 2025. Do we have pit stops here or not? Is it compulsory for them to stop?
I don't think Josh has set a CPS for this series.
No. Oh, Chapman around the outside. Are you kidding me? So now the first shot has been fired. Yeaman is clutching. Chapman is clutching. And Nixon is clutching. They're all trying to get home without a splash and dash with Beale. This will be the telling moment. If they go to pit lane this time through, no, they're not. So they're trying to get home. White flags in the air. Marcus Watson's 8 seconds up the road. And if they can get home without coughing and spluttering, Watson's going to lose out on the podium. Wow.
They're clutching from the start line.
This will be a contentious sort of post-race show talking point. If these 3 can make it work on the fuel save, and everybody else has been trumped because obviously they've not read that they don't have to. There's no obligation for them to stop down pit road. Chapman to the lead around the outside. Chapman and Yeaman are going to go side by side down the back straight. Yeaman's kept him at bay for the moment. All of a sudden, it's really lively in Japan. Nixon's been left out of it. Nixon's really clutching now. He's limping home. Chapman to the outside, Yeaman to the inside. Chapman locking it up. Yeaman's going to lead us with about a third of a lap to go.
I think Connor's out.
Watson's going to be caught, able to catch Connor Nixon, I think.
He's out.
Nixon is limping to the line. Watson will salvage third, but these 2 are going to get themselves home. They've only got to get down the hill and they're home. Yeaman, Chapman, drag race ensuing on the run to the line. 2 corners to go.
Cameron's out.
Oh, Chapman around the outside. Chapman around the outside. What about that? Are you kidding me? Chapman, the fuel save master, trumped it again. Wowee. Nixon is limping to the line in 4th. Hasler's going to come through and displace him. I'm not sure Connor's going to make it home. He needs a push along. It's going to be a slow, agonising grind to the line. For the boy from the west.
And it's the second line, not the first line. So the first line's the start line, the second line's the
Correct.
starting line. He's going to keep going.
He's already dropped to 8th. That might be 9th by the time he gets to the control line. No, he's okay.
Whoa, that's pretty close.
That was a lap car, I think, that was in behind him there. He's gone 8th. What the hell? That is astonishing. I don't have the words, because that was such a tame and really processional sort of hit out. There wasn't much life in it, and then all of a sudden you start to look at the laps tick down and you think, well, okay, Marcus has gone lap 20, that's all right. Surely the other guy's going lap 21. Oh wait, hang on, there's no CPS requirement, and they've gone and done the cheeky fuel save, and Marcus continues his podium run, but he had all the pace in the world to get the likely win and get a little bit of a further leg up as far as his championship advantage was concerned. And then all of a sudden, that's just been snatched out from right under him. And defeat has been snatched from the jaws of victory by the fuel save master and a bloke that's pretty good at it as well. So Chapman has trumped them again, and he will be cocky when he gets in here to have a chat with us in a few moments' time. There's no doubt about that. He will love the fact that he's now in a series where, because you know Adam Lavis more than anybody, how much he carried on when the pit stop regulations were brought into the series, like GT4, like GT3, like Porsche, etc. A couple of seasons ago. Nobody crowed louder than Chapman. Now all of a sudden, we're back in his wheelhouse. We're back in his element. And he's nabbed himself his first race win of the Super Formula Light season, and he's wasted absolutely no time joining us in the booth post-race here. That is madness. Having a look at all of this, Connor Dixon limps at home in 8th. Hasler was 4th. Funslow, Jones and Hen. Grosh was 9th, so a good fight back from him. Zamora, Hudson, Baz, Leach and Cousins, with Jackson Fischler up 12 spots, making up the top 15. Well done, young man. Dylan Rollo, Edward Rollo, both showing a lap down. And then you go back to Edward Rollo, Jack Humphreys, John Baldwin and Luke Brooker. What on earth have we just witnessed there? Rate of attrition was high too. So beyond, Kevin Wakefield and Broden Friend were the last of the finishers. Pete Matson will get classified on 75%. Colby Ashmore has also completed 75% of the race and will get home okay. Mark Hilly, Mark Heppel, and Leslie Reeves, retirements in all of that. Oh, geez. I'm not really sure. I'll hear from Chapo in a moment. We've got GT3 coming up in 25 minutes, folks, from Shell V Power Motorsport Park in South Australia, but we've got a bit to pick apart here. Watto, you looked home and hosed until everybody cottoned onto the fact, because, and I stress, my info sheet doesn't have anything next to it as far as this season's concerned for pit lane requirements, etc. and so forth, for any of the specific categories. So I actually had to seek clarification from Adam Lavis as to whether or not there was a CPS requirement in Super Formula Light. There wasn't, so the three guys that have gone home without transiting the pit lane, they're good. They're going to have the box ticked and signed off on. Obviously, Connor's going to be a little bit disappointed that he's run out of juice on the way home, but in all likelihood, that was your race to win, your race to lose, and I'm as stunned as you are that those boys have made it home and they've trumped you.
Yeah, to have all that pace, a lot more pace than everyone else in the entire field, and to get, I don't know, I don't want to call it robbed, but I guess robbed for the second time already this season by this fuel save, it's quite disappointing, to be honest.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, robbed's about the only word you can use, actually, to be fair, and you'd be right. Chapo loves a cheeky discount. He's managed to get himself a good little profit tonight as a result of that. But I guess short picture, small picture is that's one that got away. But big picture is your championship's still very firmly intact, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I don't really care about these championships. I'm a race-by-race kind of guy, and I think I'll usually... I still respect it. I mean, Chapo's always awesome with the fuel save. I would also say he's the best. But I respect it a bit more when it's a longer races, like AOWN, like what happened there. Like, he actually got me there. Where I feel like just the way these races are set up, like tonight, is just set up stupid, and I'm not the kind of person who just wants to sit around in a train and just fuel save for 30 minutes and hope that I can save 2 laps. I just think it's boring, and to have miles more pace than everyone and that not mean a thing in the world, again, it's just disappointing. So I'll probably just be back for the sprint races where I can start in the reverse 10 and have a bit of a fight, and it's a bit more fun. These 30-minute races, how these are set up, are just these. I'm not sticking around for that.
However, will we see you back for the sprint rounds? Because obviously there's no...
I'll be there for them. I'll be there for the sprint rounds, but yeah. I think the way these 30-minute races are set up is absolutely ridiculous.
And the funny thing about that is, I was only talking about it before you joined us. There'll be conjecture either side of the fence here, because no one whinged harder than the bloke below you, who we're going to hear from in just a moment, when CPS requirements were mandated and introduced to GSRC competition. So he'll be delighted that, it doesn't apply to all categories, but I get the feeling, Marcus, that you would welcome some sort of legislation with regards to CPS requirements for races, even if they are 30 minutes long.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're racing. We're here to race. If I don't think even people want to just watch people sit around in a train fuel saving the whole race. It's just boring. Like, and I'm here to race. I think everyone's here to race. Yes, a good fuel save race is fun here and there, don't get me wrong. But I think if just every single 30-minute race, like, and I was watching on my relative, there was no passing going on back there. They were just sitting in a train doing nothing. It's just boring. Like, and I'm here to race. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I even thought maybe I could do what Dan did and just back off and fuel save, but that's just boring. So I just hope for the best, gunned it, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy to be on the podium, be in contention for the championship. I'm obviously happy to be there. It's awesome to also have my new team that I'm representing, Project 36, up there. But yeah, I'm definitely just not a fan of the way it played out.
And I was going to say, if anyone else wasn't already getting that vibe, I think they will be very grateful for the clarification on your stance on that, mate. We had that feeling before you even spoke, so thanks for verifying it. But you mentioned Project 36. There was a comment left here a few moments ago, and I'm hoping you might be able to shed some light on that for me with regards to, they were talking about Pro Series aspirations. Now, what Pro Series are they talking about?
The only Pro Series that I know I'll be doing will be the up-and-coming Porsche Invitational Series.
Good boy. Good boy.
So that'll be fun to get amongst that. I'm not sure when that is starting, but it'll be fun representing Project 36 amongst there.
Keep an eye out on your socials, mate. I might slip you a little bit of intel. I can't reveal too much, obviously, because it'll be up to my bosses at the Australian Sim Racing Group. I'm only there to commentate for them. With regards to the actual calendar, but I can give you a little bit of an inkling as to when it's going to start, to keep an eye out for it. I would assume that now that we're in February and they've obviously got pre-qualifying and other things to get through first, that they won't be too far away from making some announcements, formal announcements regarding all of that, especially considering that this week will be the third round of their V8 Pro qualifying series of 4 as well. So once they put that to bed, then they'll do Porsche Pro pre-qualifying, and then of course we'll get stuck into racing there. So I look forward to seeing you out on the track in the thick of the action there, mate, and calling you in a tin top for a change. Let's very quickly look ahead. I mean, obviously we've navigated our way through Japan. Next week we're off to Donington Park, the national configuration. Your thoughts on that?
I think it'll be fun. If it's a sprint round, I'll be there.
It is. It is. You're welcome.
So I'll be there. I'll continue my my championship fight, if you want to call it that. But I hope it's just some good racing, and it'll be good to have Project 36 up the front there once again.
We are more than happy to hang on. That's some racing driver excuses. Chapman just played the race better is one of the comments coming through. I'm not sure if that's one of the leaders of the Sam Chapman fan club or not, but we'll wait and see.
It's actually my burner account.
And hear from Chapman and Yavid in just a moment with regards to all of that. But Marcus, I was going to say, we're more than happy to call it a championship campaign, mate, because at the end of the day, we work in motorsport media, and we're always looking for selling points to try and, you know, draw people into what we're broadcasting. So thanks for being a part of that and being a good sport about it. Good to catch up with you. Obviously, we're looking forward to seeing you bounce back and one up these blokes, or try and get square with them at least next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to all my family for their support, all my other supporters, and Project 36. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Marcus Watson. Geez, that Porsche Pro Invitational Series that the boys at the ASRG are talking about, that is growing some legs extremely quickly, because obviously, yes, we're a very supercar-centric sort of motor racing community in this country, but there are some guys, you know, you think your Corey Lazaruses, you think your Marcus Watsons, that don't necessarily fancy dabbling in those too much, and as a result of that, they're eyeing off One Make Racing instead, and we're very excited to see how they go. Righto, you two blokes, get in here and explain yourselves, please. Monkey see, monkey do. Chapo, you did it just a little bit better than Yeaman in the sense that you were able to put one on him on the final lap and steal the victory. And not the first time. You're a regular offender when it comes to winning the fuel save races, mate. And I can only imagine how much you enjoyed not only that, but also the thoughts of Marcus Watson just a few moments ago as well.
Yeah, so I do love thieving races, Zach. It is my favourite. So, so I think I'm in a slightly better mood than Marcus after that race. It was a bit of a save, and, but we had to still keep up a fair bit of pace, because, he did have a fair bit of pace at the front, and there was still quite a lot to deal with, and obviously it meant that, you weren't going to be racing hard the entire race in the same way, but it makes for a very crazy finish. And as I'm sort of just too, that was a crazy one to sort of finish off with, and he defended really well on those final few laps, and it makes it very unpredictable, because you're not quite sure where people are going to be slow, where they're going to be quick, and whether you're going to be able to get them at the end. So, very happy with that. Obviously don't get to do it too often anymore, thanks to these shameful regulation changes. But good to see that this series has not been impacted.
Listen to him. Now, it's interesting though, because I get the feeling that there will be just when you think about it. GT3 we've got it, supercars we've got it, Porsches we've got it, GT4 we've got it, and then I guess it's at the discretion of the series organisers. It would make no sense whatsoever, I agree with Marcus, to have it in a 10 or 15 minute race, but those 30-minute affairs and even 45 at the end of the season, I dare say there'll be a splash and dash component required for that one, but the 30-minute races here, it's an each-way bet. And you're going to please some people whichever way you go. So I don't envy Josh Zuno or any other SFL category organiser at this particular point in time.
Yeah, it is a tough one, and you probably do have to look a little bit at the fueling on these potentially to try and induce it a little bit more. But I don't get to do it in any other series, so leave at least one open for me if we can. That'll be great. But yeah, I guess it depends what you want out of a race. Yeah. Sort of having to watch how far ahead he's getting and see whether or not I can keep up that pace in a different way. So it's different ways to go racing, and for some, they won't like that. I do. Maybe I'm in the minority. But yeah, it's
Well, as far as the podium's concerned tonight, you're in the majority, but stay there, Chapo, as we bring in Dan Yeaman. Unfortunately for your teammate, Dan, just a bridge too far for Connor to be able to get home on the same cheeky fuel save that you and Chapo were able to get home on, and I sense that you might have been coughing and spluttering just as you were getting into the start-finish straight as well.
Oh, I was already starting. The first cough happened at the penultimate turn on that last lap, unfortunately. Just a case of, Sam did it earlier than me, and that made all the difference, because I was going with Marcus initially after the Road America experience, where it didn't make a difference, even at a track where I felt like I was aggressively trying to save fuel in that sort of top 5 pack that I was able to latch onto 2 weeks ago. And then here tonight, it was with only 2 litres required, flat out. At the start of the race, I dismissed it thinking that would be silly, or at least it wouldn't be viable, I should probably say, more to the point. And lo and behold, that wasn't the case. I had Connor, because Connor actually went first to try and copy what Sam was doing, but because he'd had to catch up to Sam, he was short on fuel too, and they had another catch up they had to do mid-race as well. So just a case of, full credit to Sam in that sense that, he committed to it, which is what we had to do with the margins we were given tonight.
Indeed, from your standpoint, though, second, one up on Marcus and another podium. So, again, you're staying in contact with Marcus. Championship aspirations are very much alive and well, but a few more things probably need to fall your way over the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a case, unfortunately. We can actually genuinely start talking that now for me, which is not something I'm used to saying, solely by nature of attendance and ability to attend races here at the GSRC. But yeah, there's half the possibility of it, but unfortunately I can't make those commitments still, so it'll be a case of we're just going to have to wait and see each week, and if we're lucky, keep lining up and try and keep putting results on the board to make it a possibility.
Indeed. Great to obviously so prominently featuring at the top end of town. Obviously, Connor's managed to limp it home in 8th, and he was chug-a-lugging right
to make it work. And yeah, for Mark, unfortunately, some kind of issue when he caught up to us. Said that felt like the rear was gone, wasn't sure on what, so couldn't get it back around and chose to retire the car at that point. Because actually, a bit like Marcus, he wasn't particularly keen on the concept of just sitting back and saving to finish the race. He wanted to properly race the thing. But as it turns out, we were able to keep Marcus within just enough of a distance there that we had that comfortable margin once he came back out. To just keep on saving to hold on, at least for Sam and I, of course, to hold on to our spots tonight.
I get Marcus's frustration from an out-and-out racing standpoint, especially when it's only 30 minutes, and in layman's terms, when you look at some of the other lengths that we run, both here and on other platforms and in other series, in other servers, it is a sprint race. It's a short, sharp, snappy sort of vibe. But there's something to be said about the strategic element if a CPS was introduced. I know exactly where Chapo sits with it. Are you on the fence, or do you have a preference?
I mean, in end of the day, I'll work with what I've got, and tonight was clear. Everything lined up to make it possible. Missed it initially, but saw that it was starting to happen. A minute hesitation was enough to make that terminal.
To Chap
The early tomorrow morning, so late nights working over the weekend means it
at once. Good on you, mate. Well done. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, just real quick to Connor and Mark for having a steer tonight here in the Winston Slicks, and to the rest of the boys at Orbit Drop there, and to iLiveries and Revolution Race Gear, our title and lead partners on the car. Obviously great to have them, as well as, of course, Encosi Engineering Solutions, Hybrid Racing Simulations, Hybrid Tune, Demon Tweaks, and the Fight Colorectal Cancer campaign. And yeah, look forward to watching that one back. And thanks, guys, for making it all happen live. And yeah, we'll maybe if we get this situation again later in the season, we'll commit on nice and early, and hopefully give Chapo a proper race for his money all the way to the checkered flag.
Exactly. He needs to be kept honest from time to time, does our mate. And by the way, just on the Orbit Drop S table, how good's the recruitment there been over the off-season? One El Capel among the big names that you've now got in the house.
Yeah, great to have Lockie actually back with us after the stint with Evolution Racing Team, and yeah, firing on all cylinders. Qualified through to the V8 Pro Series, winning last Wednesday night at Hockenheim, mastering the rain, and a pretty good week for us. So fingers crossed. We've still got Sam Blacklock and Brad Ratter to get through the qualifiers, and hopefully we can keep them up the pointy end of things.
They're looking reasonably good on points at the moment. Good to catch up, mate. Go well. We'll catch up later in the week.
Thank you very much, Zach, you, Adam, and as well, one other again to yourself, Sam, and yeah, thanks, guys.
Chapo, this is looking reasonably good for you, but I'm a bit worried. Will the schedule allow you to be here every week?
Good question. We'll find out. I'll need to be given the rubbish that's happened in the first couple of races. So yeah, I've ended up being taken out in both of those. So the point situation is looking beautiful. But yeah, we'll see how we. If it is what. Let me know if you got any intel on that as well, because I'm intrigued, and I think there's a few others that are intrigued by that. So it could be quite a competitive field, I think.
Indeed. All right, I'll remember to send out a memo later in the week once I've got my bearings back after the trip to the nation's capital. Good on you, mate. Donington Park, the next stop. Hopefully see you there, and hopefully you'll continue the success that you've enjoyed tonight, and you can build towards having a crack at securing a third, I can't believe I'm going to say that, a third Australian Open World Nationals later in the year.
Yes, hopefully we can take that one home, but we'll see how it goes.
Indeed we will. There he is, Sam Chapman. Are you going to have a steer at the bend or not?
Nah, I don't think so tonight. We'll wait.
Don't blame you.
I've been jumping in on Wednesdays a bit more. We're just trying to work out how the supercar works. Mostly slowly, but yeah, getting
there. Exactly. Good on you, mate. Thank you. Well done again.
Catch
I just knew that was going to be a spicy sort of post-race show, because I knew that the great man here, Sam Chapman, was going to be very, very happy with the loose regulations, and I was really interested to hear what Marcus had to say about it, and he didn't disappoint. You just saw the updated championship settings on your screen there, folks. Watson continues to enjoy an advantage, but it's now only 21 from him to Yeaman. Hasler's got up at a third at the expense of Jones. Chapman up 7 spots this week into the top 5. With that win, it is beneficial, isn't it? Brendan Grosh, David Baz, Eduardo Zamora, Connor Nixon unlucky, and Liam Brooker the top 10. Quick break and back. We'll sort out a couple of teething issues. We'll come back for Waste Options GT3. It's Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first one of February. We're not up against the tennis anymore. We're up against Australian Idol and that other thing that usually contributes to the downfall of the nation's IQ. So it's good that you're with us and enjoying some more motorsport. And 1 race down, 2 to come on night 1 of week 3 of term 1 of 2026. We're off to the bend next. Our first look at GT3 AM and then Pro Am for the season, the first of 4 sprint rounds in Waste Options GT3. Hope you can stay with us. Chapo's won a fuel save classic at the Okayama International Circuit. Classic in the final couple of laps when we cottoned on to what the bloody hell was going on. It was rather tame up until then, as Marcus alluded to. But we cannot wait for the fireworks that will ensue when we get to Donington next week when Super Formula Light continues. Back with the Tin Tops right after this. From Super Formula Light to Waste Options GT3 and to Shell V Power Motorsport Park in South Australia, the venue for the third round of the season. The first of 4 sprint rounds, the first of 3 rounds in 4 weeks on Australian soil, ladies and gentlemen. The first of 2 rounds in South Australia for the campaign. There's a lot to like about GT3 if you're a fan of Australian tracks in this opening term of 2026. There's the AM point standings at the moment. Darrell Atkins on top, 1 point ahead of Braden O'Loughlin, then 2 points back to Martin Davis. It's nice and tight at the top. Tristan Koch, Nathan Harvey, Jesse McMenamin, and then Tim Watson with Andrew Hayes, Robert Gay, and Brian Levitt, the top 10. Field of 26 tonight. Got to rapidly race through this. I'll get Adam to leave the details on the right-hand side of the screen there, but let's go through the grid. It's Kapesh Desai and, of course, Anthony Cuthbert's in front row. Jesse McMenamin, Sam Woodhouse, Braden O'Loughlin, Martin Pedersen, Will Yarwood, Dale Atkins, Martin Davis, and Nathan Harvey making up the top 10. Forget about the rest of them because we're racing in South Australia. Underway. They wasted no time in putting the foot to the floor and having at it. They usually don't in GT3 Amateur. First look at them for this term. And you will see another 3 sprint races from AM as the season goes on. You'll also see an enduro from Pro-Am and a couple of sprint races from them as well. So looking forward to all of that. Kalpesh Desai leads us early. Anthony Cuthbertson's following in close pursuit. Then Martin Pedersen, Jesse McMenamin, Braden O'Loughlin, Dale Atkins, William Yarwood, Nathan Harvey, Martin Davis, Daniel Stone, and Mitchell Buckman, the top 11, with Darren Miller down there in 12th. Thankfully not the Porsche Cup we're expecting in the other 2 splits here. We've got a good makeup of competitors across the board. Liam Banks in race control, I do believe, for this series. Travis has a party for Pro-Am and Glenn Arnott for Pro. Having a look at the manufacturer diversity here, I can see Lambo on the grid. Porsche, obviously BMW Acura. Yes, it's been a while since we've mentioned Acura. Great to have 3 or 4 Lambos out there. So I've already mentioned them. Mercedes, Ford, McLaren, Chev, Audi. Oh, that's 9. BMW gives me 10. I think we're 1 short of a full house. Oh no. Maybe. I'll have a look. Any Astons? Have we got any Astons? That's the only... Yes, we do. Greg Colgan. So that's the 11, isn't it? We've got 1 from every manufacturer out there tonight. That's fantastic. That is terrific to see. Such a spread in the manufacturer states. There's only 1 BMW, but 2 BMWs, but it doesn't matter. Good to see William Yarwood back on the grid. Good to see him out there in the BMW for Whiskey Business Racing. Dale Atkins is just ahead of him. Jesse McMenamin and Martin Pedersen, of course, teaming up for Fog League. Yarwood. And good to see the new Whiskey Business livery taking hold. Of course, if you're not up to speed, Project X is, of course, William Yarwood's karting business as well. So some real-world, sim-world colliding there, which is good to see. So, oh no, trouble ahead. The boys are going to avoid that. That's Kalpesh Desai. That was the race leader. That was the pole sitter. So Kalpesh Desai has bitten the dust there and has dropped down into position number... Oh no, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Sorry, Martin Pedersen's dropped off the track. Kalpesh Desai's on pit road on the tow road. What on earth is going on here at the bend? It's lap 2 of a 21-minute feature. Lap times in the 1:53s at the moment. We're on the, I guess you could call it the international layout. It's not the GT layout. It is the second of the longest configurations, the one more synonymous with supercars until this year at least, because you would have seen the news when they haven't been reporting on the TV shake-up. You will have seen the news that they are going to run the Bend 500 on the West Circuit configuration, the short track. But yeah, already a fair bit of cat throwing amongst the pigeons in this opening 2 laps. Wow, Colin Bennett off the road now as well. So there's been a few drivers run into trouble in the early stages. And if you look at the totem pole on the left-hand side, Pedersen got him. Pedersen to the inside goes to 9th. And will consolidate around the outside on the run to 2. The Whiskey Business Racing entry was very close to getting into the rear as well. That was Tim Watson on Darren Miller. So that battle continues. Watson is 11th. Rollo is 12th. Wegener is 13th. Wooden and Bennett make up the rear of the field. Bennett, all of his lines from there in 23rd. Kalpesh Desai is on the tow rope and on pit road. We need to have a look at how that happened, more to the point. But that was a biggie for Martin Pedersen. Now, let me have a look there. Pedersen, there he is. Complete juice. That was actually teammates. Oh, Yarwood's gone now as well. That's live. That was contact between teammates with Pedersen, wasn't it? That was his frog leg juice.
He hit the curb.
Oh, he hit the curb, righto.
Did you not see Did you not see the start of that?
No, I only saw the part where he went airborne because I was looking at the timing screen. So
He went airborne off the curb.
Airborne off the curb, yeah, that'll do it. All I saw was the fact that there were 2 frog leg cars in there, and I was like, hang on. Lap 3 of 13 for you folks. Now the timing screen has corrected itself on our end, and now it looks like it makes sense at your end as well. Have a look at the carnage that's played out here. I'm not sure the positional changes are 100% accurate because Anthony Cuthbertson is not up 6 spots. So that's the only thing that we can't actually give an accurate sort of reporting on at this particular point in time. 149.094 for Nathan Harvey is the fastest lap of the race. Kalpesh Desai has got back out onto the racetrack, but he is now a minute and 30 off the pace. So he'll be trying to weave his way back through from pole position to the rear of the field. He'll be trying to weave his way back through the field during the 37-minute feature race coming up a little bit later on. Oh dear. Hello to you, Robert Colbreth. Good to have you tuning in, mate. Good to have everyone tuning in this Monday night. We'll have a bit of a special treat for you, ladies and gentlemen, coming up later in the week. More on that a little bit later on. I think Adam Lavis and I are going to give you a 2 for the price of 1 with regards to Thursday night motorsport. But it will be on Friday afternoon, the way we're planning it at this particular point in time, and it will be a marathon. So make sure you stay with us for more information regarding that. We will put it up. We'll do a social banner. We'll put it on our socials so that you can plan for it. And of course, the good thing about it going on our YouTube channel is if you can't watch it live during the daylight hours, you can go and watch it on replay. The same way here. We're commentating it live, but obviously it'll be a 1 week delay and a 1 day delay for the 2 rounds respectively. But we're going to catch up. We're going to bring some action from Porsche and GT4 land a little bit later on in the week. Anthony Cuthbertson there at the moment, chasing down Dale Atkins is Nathan Harvey, and Daniel Stone there in behind him under pressure from Braden O'Loughlin and Martin Davis. But Cuthbertson under pressure from Atkins, chasing with Meneman. Only 0.3 of a second between third and second, and 0.75 of a second between first and second at this point. And the fastest lap of the race to Nathan Harvey for 555 Sim Sports. He's the one there for the shot, that multicoloured car that is making inroads on the leading bunch. He's sitting there. That's a very good livery. I don't mind that one. From Harvey, he's tracking down at a rapid rate of knots the boys in third, second and first. Dale Atkins running the only Acura in the field. Harvey aboard one of many Porsches. Atkins goes to second on Cuthbertson. Atkins to second. Cuthbertson with the switchback gets him back. Oh, that's magnificent. And that's going to work into the favour of not only McMenamin, give himself a little bit more breathing space at the front, but Harvey to reel him in behind. Fastest lap of the race now belongs to Martin Pedersen in the Frog Leap Juice Mustang, 148.679. So I was right. We've got Mercedes. We've got 6 different manufacturers, 7 different manufacturers in the top 10. Rattle these off. Mercedes, Corvette, Acura, Porsche, Lambo, Ford, McLaren, BMW in 14th through Will Yarwood, who was running in the top 10 a short while ago. Aston through Greg Colgan. in 19th place. Off there momentarily, I saw Daniel Stone. He's just lost out to Braden O'Loughlin. Colin Bennett there as well, lighting up the off-track alerts. Stone had to cede caution there and observe a slowdown as well. The only McLaren in the field is the car that's running last on track at the moment. That's Kalpesh Desai in 24th. The Audi of Tristan Koch is the first of the Audis. There were two of them in the field in 20th. 11 manufacturers on the racetrack tonight. It's a rarity these days in GT3. It is fantastic to see. We are 9.5 minutes into this 21-minute opener of round 3 of the season.
Yes, it's nice to see the AMP boys are still sticking to the GT3 spirit of actually having multiple cars in the class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not the Porsche Cup here anymore.
Oh, Harvey's fallen back into the clutches.
Oh dear. And already, I'm just noticing you might be as well, Adam Lavis, the Discord chat blowing up after SFL. And Josh Sudo, we get to control already. Attack is the best form of defence, and he's in there I guess, rallying the troops and trying to get some sort of order in check. Letting the boys vent, but then also trying to extinguish the fire as well. It's fantastic. Good on you, Josh.
So Dale just lost a bunch of time. He had a slowdown for about a quarter of a lap there, but so he's fallen off the back a couple of now, so he's going to have to try and rule that 3 seconds back in.
That's a huge deficit, isn't it? That's a huge disadvantage to him. Nathan Harvey also is 2.7 seconds further back. The slowdowns do cruel you around here. It would seem.
They do, but not as hard as some of the sausage curves can throw you, as we saw with one of the Frog Leap cars earlier.
McMenamin, Cuthbertson, and then Atkins, Harvey, O'Loughlin, Stone, Pedersen, Davis, Miller and Watson, the top 10. I stand corrected, there were 2 McLarens in the field, Watto's in the second one. Whiskey Business are well represented here. Dale Atkins, Tim Watson, William Yarwood, 3 of them. Frogleap Juice have got 3 in the top 10 as well. And of course, we've already highlighted that 555 SimSport are out there in the form of Nathan Harvey and Luke Wegener as well. So, quite a few teams to keep an eye on here, and all through. I'll come back to that point in just a moment on the screen there from Spud Levy. Because unfortunately, due to an issue, a glitch between iRacing and STK, there's no accuracy to those positional gains and losses, unfortunately, because Anthony Cuthbertson is showing +6 on your timing screen. He's actually up +0 at the moment. I forgot the point. Yes, the great thing about this is there's such a great spread of different teams, but also, Adam Lavis, as we've become accustomed to seeing, as far as the world of sim racing is concerned, no manufacturer consistency within those teams. It's not uncommon to see different drivers behind the wheel of different things.
You know, it's some of those things, even us today, everyone has different preferences and like preferences not only on taste of car but also the feel of the cars. And some of the more, like, for lack of a better term, serious teams try and keep things all kosher in one car. But there's more social bunch of us that are probably the majority of the teams in our club, because we're more of a social club type league. We're just here to enjoy ourselves and drive the cars we like to drive.
Indeed. idea who Dad is, but Annabelle's sending her love. Obviously out there on the racetrack at the moment. Just trying to interpret it by the handle with the name on YouTube there, but it's giving me absolutely nothing.
The YouTube's new setting of showing handles rather than names is a bit of a pain in the butt for us.
Isn't it? Isn't it? So Colin Bennett off the road again, so he's not going to lose 23rd at the moment because Kalpesh decides that far down the road it's not funny, but he's not going to catch Scott Wooden either, is Colin Bennett. So not a very clean run for him in this race. Nathan Harvey again, the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 48.655. So when he can keep it clean on the racetrack and avoid a slowdown, he's the front runner as far as pace is concerned at the moment. We'll wait and see what he can do here. Because 4.4 seconds is a bit too much of an invoice to reel in Jesse McManaman between now and the checkered flag. 4 different teams in the top 4, 4 different manufacturers in the top 4, 5 in the top 5. In fact, here at Shelby Power Motorsport Park. 6 minutes to go. It's well documented. This is my favourite venue when it comes to any form of racing, really. The West Circuit I can get around, but this longer circuit, it usually becomes an elongated sort of drag because everyone spreads out. Thankfully, at the AM split, we haven't seen too much in the way of processional running so far. But who knows what we'll get when we go to Pro-Am for the feature in about 10 minutes' time. Hello, Daiso. Good to have you tuning in, mate. Hope you're well. Just came in, cleaned us out last term, and we've barely seen him so far this year. But the team are there in good numbers. Ryan Jones particularly running quite prominently in SFL at the moment, and also GT3 in the Porsche Cup. And the supercars, I think he's trying to dabble in there when he's not trying to qualify for the Logitech series as well. Of course, their qualifying continues on Wednesday night. And a lot of people showing a lot of interest in their upcoming Porsche series as well. Not keen on the 3-minute lap. Well, this is not the 3-minute lap. This is a minute 50 around here. Because this is the 4.95 kilometre layout. No, it's more just a case of, and I've said it before, Steve, on air here, and you know my stance on this with regards to any racetrack and any category. Some racetracks lend themselves to good racing no matter the car, and then some don't. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of instances here. We've had some really boring snore affairs. Sprint racing does liven it up a little bit, but we had a 40-minute Porsche race here late last year that felt like 40 hours. I'm not sure whether it was Dan Carrier-Sar or Matt Schmidt who would be in the booth that night. Here we go, finally some action. Sam Woodhouse under pressure here, trying to get by Edward Wallow, and does do so. Very good. But the problem is, they've got to try and catch Luke Wegener. And Tim Watson's in the arduous position at the moment. He's in the most, fraught with danger racetrack position you could possibly be in at the moment. He holds the invert pole. He holds the trump card for the next heat. But there's 3 blokes there on his tail, looking to upset the apple cart and displace him.
Atkins got the gap down to a second. He's got another slowdown.
Yeah. So Atkins will end up falling back into the clutches of Harvey. Harvey put it off the road momentarily there. Coming onto the main straight, he's kicked up the grass. And then O'Loughlin, Stone, Pedersen, Martin Davis, Darren Miller is holding off Tim Watson. Watson down the inside. Miller's on pit road. Darren Miller is on pit road. That wasn't in the script. So all of a sudden, Watto's no longer in that, what what's the word? He's not in that position where you're on the precipice. You're either in or you're out. Where you're on that fringe, that cusp. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what I can do there, because he's in 9th, but he's got a train of cars behind him. He's got Wegener, Woodhouse and Rollo, 10th, 11th and 12th, all having at it. Harvey's now lost out to O'Loughlin, dropped back to 5th. O'Loughlin's trying to catch Atkins. This is all for 3rd in the motor race. So driver error is keeping this lively, because drivers that on pace should be a little bit further up the road from where they are now boxed in trying to find a way through. And that brings me back to another point that we're making. Some circuits are good for overtaking and some aren't. There's no shortage of overtaking opportunities around this circuit, around 5 kilometres of racetrack. That's silly. Tristan Koch has just been clean bowled. But executing them is one thing and consolidating them is another. I think Buckman's lost the brake mark.
He went for a move, but well deep.
And then he shot himself in the foot as well. So he might have double invoice there once race control has a look at that. Hang on. Oh. White flag in the air this time by. They're not going to get home.
Figuratively speaking.
To the 13th lap. Figuratively speaking, yes, you're right. Barney's still on vacation. He hasn't made it to South Australia yet. Can't blame him.
Every time we come here, he has trouble with checking point.
Yeah, exactly. He's stuck in the museum. I hope the God's flowing in there will make it a little bit more enjoyable an experience for him. Rollo, got it. 10th is Edward Rollo's. Got by Sam Woodhouse. Watson's got breathing space. On the bubble would be, there you go, Tim Watson. All he had to do was bring it home cleanly, and he's just cost himself an invert front row. Wow. So another one bites the dust. This is not going to go 13 laps. This is going to be flagged this time through. We're into overtime. We're going time certain. You know my views on that, Adam Lavis, but it can't be helped in this instance. McMenamin, Cuthbertson, Atkins, they're all clear. Cuthbertson's caught McMenamin. Can he have a lunge in the final half a lap? Atkins is closing in. O'Loughlin, Harvey, Stone and Pedersen are all there as well. 4 seconds covers the top 7. But again, mistakes have been the main contributor to overtakes in this race. Hard to argue with that statement. Kalpesh Desai back on pit road, having completed lap 10, so he'll get home on 75% completion, and he'll get the points for 24th, but he'll reset and try and go again in heat 2. Last turn, checkered flag. Welcome to victory lane and the winners list. Jesse McManaman. Placed options GT3 very nicely done. When you look at the AM split this term, McManaman had a 21st first time out, a second last week. Now he goes to the top of the summit, and the reward for that is 10th on the grid for Heat 2. Wowee. Cuthbertson, Atkins, O'Loughlin, Harvey, Stone, Pedersen and Davis, Rollo and Woodhouse, the beneficiary of Tim Watson falling foul on that final lap, and Sam Woodhouse for Send It Society will have the invert pole. Then back to Luke Wegener, William Yarwood, Troy Mortensen, Robert Gay, Tim Watson, Ben Townsend. That ended up being a 6-position swing for Timmy Watson. Greg Colgan, Scott Wooden, Logan Griffin and Tristan Koch made up the top 20. Everybody that started is going to be classified. That's fine, but the big story was Kalpesh Desai from pole to last very quickly, then to the tow rope, and then has finished on pit lane with a second incident to boot, to add insult to injury and rub salt into the wound. Yeah, interesting. Interesting to say the least. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5, 6 in the top 10, and rain on the way. Bring on the AM split when we get there in a few moments' time. Rain for the warm-up. It's a 5-minute warm-up. That gives us plenty of time to get across to the Pro-Am split for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's hosing down in South Australia. Good, you need something to combat the heat wave at the moment. McManaman from Cuthbertson. What we have 3 different teams in the top 3 and 5 in the top 6, and 4 different manufacturers. I mean, that's fantastic to see such variety, such diversity at the moment. But McManaman from Cuthbertson, Atkins held off O'Loughlin, Harvey unlucky, fastest of the race early on, but wasn't able to convert that into an outright finishing result. Stone, Pedersen, Davis, Rollo and Woodhouse. We do it with thanks to Waste Options, Disruptive Labs, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com, and also Flash Graphics. Have a look at it. We've gone from a dry racetrack to a soaked, sodden deluge. Hopefully, Pro-Am's got the same weather setup. If it does, strap yourself in and buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because it'll be a time-certain 37-minute affair for the feature tonight to get us to the end of round 3 of Waste Options GT3. We take this opportunity to take a break. You're watching Monday Night Motorsport, live, exclusive and free to the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for the 3rd time this year, for the 1st time in February, and it continues for you right after this. Back at Shelby Pal Motorsport Park for you, ladies and gentlemen. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and Monday Night Motorsport. And I'm happy to report that the track for the Pro-Am split is as soaked and sodded and is what it was for the AM split. Have a look at that, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. Bring your raincoat, bring your gumboots, bring your umbrella, bring your bloody canoe for this one, because if this was a real-world event, we'd be in an indefinite sort of race suspension and program delay at this particular point in time. Brooklyn Bredon, the top of the timesheets here in qualifying, ahead of Bobby Camo, Reece Keane, Mark Heppel and Luke Page. The top five, only quarter of a second, pretty well covering that top five there. Race 1 results in favour of Reece Keane ahead of Brooklyn Bredon. And have a look at that. 3 of them within a second of one another. You've got... we had someone chime into the commentary box there for a moment, but no, all good. Bobby Camo, Mark Heppel, John Wright, Luke Page, Andrew Neal, Jason Wilkinson, Cooper Friend and Eduardo Zamora, the top 10. So quick was that entry and exit that I didn't even see who it was. Championship points going into this round. Luke Page, 93, John Wright, 90, Paul Wood, 77, Nathan Michael, Bobby Camo, Cameron Dacken, Andrew Neal, Jason Wilkinson, Jordan Dacken and Dave Oliver, the top 10. Depressingly, 8 Porsches and 2 of everything else in that top 10 at the moment. And as far as the top 20 is concerned, 80% of the quota Porsches right now. Have a look at this. A venture into the unknown, ladies and gentlemen. Casa de Shaheen becomes Noah's Ark for the next 37 minutes. Have a look at the spray. The visibility with extra nothing at the back of this field. Flying blind as a new definition as we go racing once more in South Australia. Down to the first corner we go. Already trouble off the side of the road. Although, to be fair, there's probably more visibility out there than what there would be. Just no grip. Joel Janssens, Leslie Reeves, Colby Ashmore, Travis Hazaparty, Rob Fisher, David Baz and Joel Naughty. All non-starters in all of this. Sean Benici starts from pit lane now, having got onto the wet tyres. Everybody else is safely away. Oh, this is going to be... I'm really glad we're in the commentary box right now. I wouldn't want to be out there. Trouble. Derek Fitzgerald. Oh, this is going to be carnage. 4 off-track alerts already lit up. Good luck getting through that one. 4 or 5 cars have taken to the infield or the outfield. But we're still relatively straight as far as the structure of the race cars are concerned, which is astonishing. And there, yeah, have a look at that. There's your indication as to the rain is here and it's sticking around. It's not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just green or yellow, it's orange, which is the heaviest of the heavy. Sean Benici has himself a pit lane drive-through penalty as well coming up. Off goes Nathan Michael. There will be a massive pendulum swing of track positions here, because you're going to have drivers running off the road, spinning it, looping it, putting it through the grass. Jason Wilkinson, the latest of those. It's a venture into the unknown, and these guys, if you drive to the conditions, you're going to be rewarded at them, and if you don't, you're going to be punished.
Yeah, you got to try and feel that grip and stay within the try and find it and stick to it, because if you have any sort of slip or catch a puddle at the wrong time, you're going to be like grass quick smart. The only plus side around here is the walls are pretty far away, so you should be able to get back into the race. But yeah, it's going to cost you a buttload of time.
Peter Friend leads at the end of the opening lap. John Wright there in second, Eduardo Zamora, Reece Keane and Andrew Neal at top 5. I'm still a little bit hoarse on the back of that trip to Canberra over the weekend. Oh, trouble at turn 1. Andrew Neal, 2, 3, 4 wheels even in the dirt. And goes back through. Derek Fitzgerald, Sean Benici to pit lane. Oh dear. Lap times 2 minute 18.025. That's the best of it. So at 2.25 minutes, that's 9 minutes per 4 laps. 4 laps, 9 minutes, somewhere in that vicinity. So 4 9s are 36. and if the conditions are only going to deteriorate from here, they're not going to get any better. And that sets the standard for the rest of the night. Plus the run down pit lane, you're probably looking at 4 9s, 4 times 4, 16. You're only looking at about 16, 17 laps in this race. At best. And what were we originally scheduled for, Adam? 22. Yeah, exactly. All right, welcome to Monday Night Time Certain Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. The rain is absolutely lashing down. That first lap time was about 28 seconds off the fastest lap that we saw in qualifying for these guys earlier in the night. Just to give you an indication as to how treacherous it is. And as I say, if this was real world, there's no way they'd let this thing go. But that's why we're in the sim world, and that's why we're able to keep on going. There's a certain carefree factor associated with this right now. But again, something to be said about driving to the conditions. Down the main straight we go. And actually, this might actually give us a lively sort of interesting sort of race to commentate around the bend. Just add water. That usually spices it up on the other... I was saying there earlier, and they were responding in the comments as well. Some racetracks just are better for racing than others. Some are good driving circuits, but don't necessarily offer up good entertainment in terms of the racing quality. But now, when you just add water, oh boy. Hockenheim's another classic example. We were talking earlier about the V8 Pro Series last week. The finish of that hadn't seemed to be believed. Cooper Friend, John Wright, Reese Keane, Brooklyn Bredden and Andrew Neal, the top 5, Eduardo Zamora, Luke Page, John Akers, Jason Wilkinson and Bobby Camo, the top 10. Bobby Camo gets past Jason Wilkinson, goes to 9th. Dave Oliver, Mark Ebel, Greg Heaney, Warren Ibert and Paul Wood, the top 15. Reese Keane in 3rd, and I know we've already commented on the prolific presence of Porsches tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see down through the field. David Baz was going to line up in a Ferrari. Travis has a party Lamborghini. Colby Ashmore and Aston Martin. Leslie Reeves a BMW. Unfortunately, haven't taken the start here. Reese Keane getting very close to the tail there of John Wright, quite frankly. It's a little bit too close for comfort, but he's okay for the moment. He got away with it. Elsewhere in the field, you got the Ford, obviously, of Reese Keane and Brooklyn Bredden. So there's 5. Mercedes, Paul Wood, 6. McLaren, Sean Benici, 7. Porsche, 8. No... down on the inside, John Akers, forceful, but got it done on Eduardo Zamora. Got it done. Cleanly. Well, as clean as you could probably hope for in these conditions, really.
Well, so this is a...
You're going to work hard to get money tonight.
Paul Cameron Dakin here. This is his first run in the Pro M20. He got promoted last week and straight to the fire and the water. And pit lane already for one of the good couple of cars.
Bobby Camo and Greg Heaney, so 2 of the Porsche brigade in.
Probably just want to get out of the spray.
Probably. So... in this field. Oh, trouble at 1. Trouble at 1. Paul Wood crowds the wall. And that will be a little bit worse for where the Aussie races Mercedes right now. He's trying to limp through the grass, but so soaked and sodden is it that it's taking a little bit longer than usual.
Oh, he's broken the white line.
Yeah, that'll do it too. Yeah. White line is suicide in these conditions. It's so slippery. Especially with the amount of water on top of it as well. He had company down there, but still not ideal for Woodsy.
It's on the opening lap.
John Wright
Turn 5
on the Disruptive Labs replay. So this was the incident that claimed 5 or 6 of them on the opening lap, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, Matt Avenel was also part of this. You're going to see cars go left and right. Yes, Steve, exactly. There they all go.
I think it's Derek for Joe. I think
Some wider off the grass than others.
I think yeah, Derek just went straight ahead like he had no vision at all. And Woodsy's going straight ahead the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, John Wright there, third at the moment, going along quite nicely. In treacherous conditions, Reese Keane up 8 spots. Cooper Friend, fast run race. Oh, trouble. That's Brooklyn Bredden off the track at the final turn. Cameron Dack in the corner before. Ben Gorins with him. Paul Wood also off the road again, trying to limp it back to pit lane. Oh, dear, oh, dear. It's just a minefield out there tonight. Dave Oliver, Brooklyn Bredden to pit lane. Paul Wood still limping back. Anybody else will be on the tow rope, just stubborn in the meantime, I guess. Stubbornness from Paul Wood, persevering with it when others would have thrown in the towel, but that's why we like Woodsy. Brooklyn Bredden and Dave Oliver still on pit road. That's Matt Avenel in 13th trying to get through. We're only on lap 5. Lap times have improved to 2:11.7, but there's no indication that the track has actually improved because we've still got rain falling and we've still got more on the way. So at no point do we envisage a switch over to dry tyres tonight. It's hosing down in South Australia. I'm just trying to gauge or ascertain exactly how many different manufacturers we've got out there. We've got 5 in the top 10 at the moment. Porsche, Ford, Ferrari, Aston and BMW. Beyond that, you've got Mercedes through Paul Wood in 25th, McLaren through Sean Benici in 28th. The Lambo not on the grid. That was in the server through Travis as a party. And then as far as the rest of it's concerned, no Acuras out there, I've noticed that. No Audis out there and no Corvettes out there. I knew I was missing one. I had 8, I just couldn't think of what the other one was. No Corvette out there tonight. So to a point, 7 different manufacturers in the race at the moment, which is still a bit more variety than we've come to expect on some nights in our Waste Options GT3 series. But Porsche's still the car to have in these conditions.
As you can see there in the background, Kurt Nomerson trying every go-kart line he can think of. And more instances here that I think it's a lap car wide there. No, Matt Lipsky, that's position.
That worked once upon a time for Lee Holdsworth, did it not? At Oran Park all those years ago, the go-kart line.
It does, but it works in certain situations. Depends on how much depends how much track usage, like how built up the racing line is. If the racing line's been used and it's full of rubber, then the go-kart line's the way to go. But in certain, like if it's sort of drying out, you want to get back to the racing line as soon as you can. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's always worth trying, but it's not the be-all and end-all all the time.
Now, Trav Azzopardi's just alerted me to something that I should have cottoned onto a little bit earlier, and that is that he's in race control. So I don't have an explanation for Janssens, Reeves, Ashmore, Fisher, Basil, Naughty. I don't have an explanation for them, but at least for Trav, we do have an explanation. Maybe you should turn that Lambo into a safety car, Trav, and go and take control of this thing. But nice to have you in race control, mate. The problem with that is, obviously, there's no sophisticated sort of way. And I don't know if this is just a user operator or it's an iRacing, but there's no sophisticated way, it would seem, to have the server operational without having a driver in there as race control, listed also on our list as a driver.
No, they can. They're just going to join the server as a spectator, but sometimes they forget to do that. Oh, yeah, that's too deep. Race.
Off we go. Reese Keane through the grass. Off you go, son. Out the other side.
Yeah, Nexus Road.
On a completely different part of the racetrack. On that west configuration cut through or rejoin.
That's a different cut through again, that one. I think it's the...
Yeah.
It's like an even shorter course.
The Aston is a great looking car with the spotlights along the front. Don't get me started about lights on the front of cars at the moment, because it's really annoying me, just the obnoxiousness of these people that have their LED lights on the road. And I saw one on the highway last night, and as it was going in between, like it must have had an automatic sensor. Go from street light to street light. As soon as it came into a street light, the lights would dim, and as soon as it went out of the street light, it was like on high beam mode, and they're just obnoxious lights and really blinding. So when it comes to lights on cars, it's a bit of a sensitive talking point with me at the moment. Because the one thing I like to do when I'm out on the road is get as far away from anyone with LED lights as I possibly can. Unless we're on country roads, in which case I let them lead the way, because they'll pick up the ruse before I will. In the meantime, back here to Shell V-Power. Cooper Fred, and then John Wright, Reece Keane, Andrew Neil, Luke Page, John Akers, the top 6. But we're still in that awkward phase where we're cleansing this field. Bottom third of the field's been in. Dave Oliver back, all been to pit lane. Sean Benici's decided to call it a night there in Alaska. He's gone to bed in the early hours of the morning. He's been parked up since the end of lap 2. He's done. Porsche 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 and 8 at the moment. 6 in the top 10. That's looking a little bit brighter, Adam, but the problem is the rain's still absolutely lashing down.
Yeah, looking at the radar earlier, once it gets that sort of a bowler look, it's very rare that it goes away. So it's probably going to be pretty much on and off for the most of this race.
Seven laps gone. We're again talking about a 37-minute race here, folks. We're not talking about 22 laps. We envisage getting somewhere in the vicinity of 16, probably 17 or 18 laps more favourable now. I'm moving towards 17 more than 18. There's the lack of visibility from Andrew Neil's cockpit.
Put yourself in the position of driving the car.
See that car on the left-hand side, could you? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just a driving display at this point. I don't envy these guys in the slightest.
Well, Reece Keane seems to be
work hard there Monday night, and they're going to be very happy to see the end of this, I think.
Keane seems to be on C3. He's right in the back of the John Wright's bump. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that when we do go for pit stops, iRacing have decided to go with the supercar school zone speed limit of 40 kilometres an hour. So it's hard enough to get stopped in the dry, let alone in the wet. So you might see some black flags.
The funny thing about that is, you just reminded me, the good thing about school being back, shopping centres and all that are going to be a lot quieter. The bad thing, it's going to be a slow, steady, processional sort of drive through to town, because all the bad drivers of society are on the road between about 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon, local time. And also, you've got those school zones to contend with where people don't do 40, they'll do 30. Just because, 40 we can get done for speeding. Some bureaucratic BS. 17 and a half minutes gone, 19 to go. And this is Cooper Fradden leading the way from John Wright. We've picked up Reece Keane under pressure, or trying to put the pressure on John Wright. We've got Luke Page and Andrew Neil side by side now. And finally, a couple of patches on this racetrack where the rain's not falling, and a couple of other patches where it's not falling ever was. But then you look at the start-finish line, and you kind of want to get the sweepers out and push the water off the racetrack. Matt Avenel off the road and deep off the road. The end of the previous lap. That's lap 8 that he's completing at the moment. And let's have a look at this. Down the hill and just aquaplanes. Just aquaplanes off the road. Firstly to the left, and once he hit the grass, he was a passenger. But he aquaplaned from, like, he was pointing straight and aquaplaned left. And that's what you've got to contend with here. Greg Heaney also. Well, that's a bit of A, too deep, and B, aquaplane as well. From G. Heaney. Paul Wood, 209.930, fastest lap of the race for the Merc. And he's already completed his pit stop. He's down in 27th at the moment, trying to work his way back through. Greg Heaney, again off the road. He's made the replay link twice in a lap. We pick up John Wright very, very nicely for Send It Society at the moment. DPR's Reese Keane is there in third place, keeping him honest. Porsche 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 and 9 at the moment. 2 Astons in the top 10 right now, but again, the field is not yet cleansed. Cameron Dacken off the road.
And also Johnny Wright, our contact Waste Options, so the representative for the night's sponsor of Waste Options, and unfortunately, he's just put a waste to that corner.
Cooper Friend, Reese Keane and John Wright, top 3. Battle packs are slowly but surely spreading out here. Brooklyn Bredden showing off the road at the moment and deep off the road as well, and now on the tow rope. So Bredden's night is done, and it's just been a race to forget for the Mustang pilot for Northwind Motorsport. So another one bites the dust. We've already had Sean Benici retire. Brooklyn's just done the same. 2 retirements, 26 contenders left in the fight here in the mix, fighting for 25-point scoring positions. The battle for the minors at the moment, Kurt Nommensen and Paul Wood. Oh no, Daniel Piper and Kurt Nommensen are off the road just as we say that. This is what happened to Bredden. Then we'll go and have a look at Nommensen and Piper, and Paul Wood has all of a sudden got himself into the points in 24th. And more to the point, the top 13 plus Martin Lipsky yet to stop. Daniel Piper off the road. Sympathy from Kurt Nommensen. Monkey see, monkey do, except Nommensen went a lot further off the road than Piper. Don't forget Australian Idol coming up this week, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have Idol back. Time for Australia to get their annual fix of Amy Shark again. We're back with you on Friday for more racing from the platform from Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and hopefully Wednesday as well. As I say, I hopefully will be able to jump in and deputise on some Wednesday nights starting from next week, just until we dot the I's and cross the T's and get a few more people back on board with the broadcast crew. We're a bit short on staff at the moment. If you want to get involved and be a part of what we do here, feel free to flick us a message. And our people will call your people. By our people, I mean Adam Lavis and Josh Zuno. Greg Heaney in 19th, also one of our people. He's sitting there in behind Martin Lipsky and Warren Ivett. In to pit lane comes Luke Page. Trouble for Neil de Bruin on the final turn.
He's got a big gap here, so he shoots, maintains position.
Yeah, he's managed to loop that flick spin on the water, just aquaplaning flick spin. Brilliant. You're right though, but the problem is that margin diminishes now. He's got out ahead of Luke Page onto the racetrack, but he's yet to complete his stop. So Page is the best of anyone that's stopped. And what's unfortunately happened there for Del de Bruin is he's lost 10 seconds on Eduardo Zamora, 12 seconds, and he's now only got 8 seconds on Cameron Dakin, who's the next one down the road who hasn't yet stopped. Zamora, 7th. Just have a look at the standing water still hanging around this racetrack. It'll take a while to clear it. The drainage not that good in iRacing land. We've determined that on a few occasions. Still extremely wet, the track. 22 degrees the track temp, 28 the ambient. So the summer heat wave still, you know, having an impact even on the wet days. Winds strong, gusty. 30 kilometres an hour in a southeasterly, or sorry, east to southeasterly direction, and we're well, mostly easterly, but let's be honest. And 2:26 Australian Central Daylight Time. So daylight's not an issue. Temperature's not an issue. Moisture is, very much so. Friend, Keane, Wright, Neil, Akers, the top 5.
Everyone there learned from Woodsy's mistake, staying away from that pit exit line. Anyone who's ridden a motorbike knows white lines are death.
That's it.
Oh, Cameron.
Oh no, Cameron Dakin again off the road. But unfortunately,
Is this the same puddle?
the wording that you've used there, unfortunately, that's a literal statement in motor racing, in motorcycling circles, far too frequently, unfortunately. In the meantime, there's Martin Lipsky. And off goes Neil de Bruin again. So de Bruin's had another incident, this time at the end of the main straight, not the start. De Bruin
He's got to slow down from it.
To 10th, yeah. Dakin to pit lane. Lipsky showing a lap down. Only one lap down at the moment.
I think this is his first night in GT3, so he's probably an AM driver in the Pro-Am class because of the doing his basically his audition for the series. So chances are he will probably end up being an AM split next week, maybe with some guys around his sort of level. It's probably a bit more enjoyable, but he's get out there getting his reps in tonight to get himself on the board.
That's it. And that point there in the comments from
leader of the race.
From the Azzopardi crew, that is so true.
It is. That's it. So it looks like
there's Cooper Friend. That was the race leader.
Yeah,
that was the race leader.
It is.
Wow. So it's deteriorated once more.
It's cost him the lead.
And you can see it on your screen there, folks. The rain has arrived back at the circuit. Look at the spray. So Fred back down on the inside of Keane to the end of the main straight. Takes the lead back, then runs it wide. He's gone. Keane will go through and reclaim the lead in the Mustang. Friend goes back to second, but the conditions have deteriorated again.
I think what's happening is like must be a bit of a wet puddle spot on the racing line and started the braking zone for that second last corner, and some of the guys, as the guys sort of get comfortable thinking they're good, they start migrating back towards that racing line, and eventually, or they just have a little mind's lapse of concentration. Because that's probably the other problem with the rain is it's mentally draining because you've got to concentrate everywhere, and if you just basically stop concentrating, you just go back to your natural instincts of going to that racing line, and that's where the puddle is. And we've seen it like at least 3 or 4 guys with that same mistake, and mostly in Porsches too, on that puddle onto the second last corner.
I'd have to question the return to track there. Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, that'll be for Trevor as a party to do. It's fair to say. But just going back to the point about hitting the white lines on motorcycles, yeah, I'm definitely not trying to make light of those situations. It's just a sheer brutal reality of that sport those vehicles the world we live in. You know, they don't say motor racing is dangerous for the sake of hearing themselves talk, ladies and gentlemen. It's sheer reality, sheer fact. But that's something that, you know, people from the outside, takes a little bit for them to get their head around and used to. For the rest of us, you know, water on a duck's back essentially. When you've been around it long enough, you're so used to it. You know, it's a reality of what we do. It doesn't make it any easier, but at least you come to at least know that it's a possibility of happening, and it's not a shock. It's not a complete shock to the system when it does, because you know the pitfalls and the risks involved in what we do. But it's because of that, I think, that we all get such a rush out of it. It's an adrenaline thing.
Indeed, it is. Bikes are always a bit of fun. I heard a bit of in-sim comms there from the boys. I'm assuming the first race in the program for us to go on the distance, so unlike the AM went a bit 1 lap short, because some of the guys have just realised that they're asking the question: is this going to be a time certain, a lap certain race? And Greg was on the blower to let them know it's whatever comes first. So we'll see how they go.
Well, we're only on lap 14 now, and as I say, we're looking at 16 or 17 from the outset. And looking at where we are on time at the moment, and the fact that the top 5 haven't stopped yet, I think it's 3 laps at the line.
The other thing too is if those same guys are asking about the lap count, do they know about the compulsory pit stop?
Correct. And the times have deteriorated. They've dropped back, so it's now 2:13, 2:14. It was as low as 2 minutes 10, 2 minutes 11 a few moments ago. So the rain has returned. It's got heavier, the track wetter, and as a result of that, the times have slowed as a result. So 3 laps at the line we anticipate for Reese Keane, but that also includes a transit of the lane. Daiso got interested in this because Reese Keane drives for DPR Racing. That was Kurt Nommensen. This is Cameron Dakin again.
That same puddle in the second last corner.
Yeah, not for the first time tonight. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like different circuits,
and that's twice
different puddle effect, different puddle sizes, and no two parts of this racetrack are exactly the same when it comes to, you know, what the puddles are, what sort of an effect and what sort of size the puddles are. Some parts of the racetrack drier, if that's even a thing right now, that the water's not as deep and not as substantial as what it is in others.
Indeed, yes. It's a pretty big. This is technically the full GT course is. I think it's the 4th longest permanent circuit or something, or 7th or something. Basically, it's one above Spa. It's just like a couple 100 meters longer than Spa. So it is a fairly spread out place. It is one of those tracks where it can be raining on one side and not on the other. So it's always going to be that treacherous. And long lap times. Obviously, we're doing over 2 minute lap times. So by the time you come to that same spot again, it's going to be completely different to what it was 2 minutes ago.
Indeed. But that's the other thing as well. I think, as Neil de Braun comes to pit lane, there's now only 3 cars that are yet to stop. That's Wilkinson, that's Keane, that's Heppel. So good to see Heppel having a far better run here than what he did in SFL. Dave Oliver down the inside.
Couldn't pull off.
Out.
Jack Humphries, though, he's still going for his move.
Yeah.
And gets it done.
That's a good point about the sand traps as well, and cars getting stuck and bogged in there. But the other point I was going to say with regards to that, trying to make sense of the weather situation and why we're seeing so many competitors trip up in different ways on different parts of the circuit. This is the first really, really wet race we've ever had here. So a lot of these guys haven't actually had at it in these conditions on this circuit. So it's a whole new learning curve for them. Yeah, that's exactly right. Reaction sim racing, it would be a case of the safety car would be out there the recovery vehicles will be out there all night long. You just run the whole thing under caution. Right. Speaking of which, right, did anyone else subject themselves to that 6.5-hour safety car interval at the Daytona 24-hour because of a little bit of fog last week? And I'm talking about the real world one, by the way. Oh, Neil de Bruyn's got a black flag, and so does Reece Keane. Reece Keane has a black flag on pit entry as he's gone in to complete his CPS. Reece Keane's race is run. He's stolen defeat from the jaws of victory. Are you kidding me? And Neil de Bruyn would be on the return to the racetrack just a few moments ago. Watch this. Reece Keane. Oh dear.
Hey, you forgot to put the limiter on and hit the throttle again. He actually got it pulled up, and then just didn't have that limiter on.
That is madness.
I think the Burons might be possibly for incident points.
Copy. So not anything unsafe on the rejoin. Nathan Michael.
It might have been. We can check.
Keane's pit stop now in excess of 40 seconds. It drops him out of the top 10. That is a hefty invoice. There's no doubt about that.
Let's see if he crosses the white line, then I'll give him an unsafe pit exit.
Yeah, the graphics setting the guy.
He's unsafe exited on the white line.
He wouldn't have been able to see the right line for all the water. I mean, he's lucky he didn't slide on it either. Will play into the hands of those with better PCs when it comes to rain. Absolutely, I agree.
This is all kicking off this little group here. Battle for 10th. End of back in the top 10.
They can see the puddles, but they just don't know how deep they are. I get that feeling. Because again, you know, certain parts of the circuit there's more standing water than others. And you've only got to look at the, you know, inside and outside of the racetracks where those ripple strips are to get an indication as to the level of standing water in any particular part of the circuit. What are we, lap 16? White flag in the air this time by, and Luke Page has inherited the race lead. Jason Wilkinson, keep an eye on him for me. If you can, Adam. He's got to come to pit lane this time by, otherwise he's getting an invoice. If he doesn't come to pit lane this time by, he will get an invoice. Daniel Cheney for Orbit Drop Bear in trouble at 1. Contact, and he came off work for wear.
You incurred a bit of a bingle.
So that's no good for him. Luke Page to the white flag, the figurative white flag this time through. We're at about a minute on the clock. And such has been the slowness of lap times around here, and the deterioration of average speed, that the pit stops have been remarkably short. Very quick splash and dash, because obviously originally this was scheduled for 22 laps, which would have also been ambitious based on the time for crunching earlier. But in comes Jason Wilkinson now, so that alleviates that problem. But as a result of these guys being able to make it so far into the race before having to stop on time, they've only had to top up the tank a small amount rather than sitting stationary for, you know, close enough to 10 seconds. They've sat stationary for 4 to 7. So Page, Friend, Neil, Wright, Akers, but it's not done yet because there's still 1 lap to go and still 4.95 kilometres of opportunities for them to trip themselves up. Why is it running inside the cafe? That's a very good question. Maybe the volume of the rain, the roof's caved in. We can't tell.
Maybe Boney's got so sick of waiting, he's pulled the fire alarm.
I know. Yeah. What the hell? That's a good pickup actually from Drift Gods. That's brilliant. Jack Humphreys under pressure here. Contact. Through he goes. That's Warren Ibert. Forksville on the inside going to 10th. No, he rescinds. He recedes. He yields and redresses. And then he almost put 2 wheels in the grass. It's driving sideways. So if someone's left the door open, that might help explain it. Mum and Dad have a pergola where just the piping at home in Cessnock, where the piping sometimes just couldn't cope with the volume of water, and there was a little hole that the water would slip through, and either the piping was carked or it was built up with other rubbish and it hadn't been cleaned out. So there was always a patch of the garden there at home in the pergola in the very top corner nearest the house that would just cop it whenever we got heavy rain. Speaking of copping it in heavy rain, these competitors have done very well to make it through 37 unforgettable minutes at Shell V Power Motorsport Park, and Luke Page anoints himself as the lane master in round 3 of Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am in South Australia. Cooper Friend in for second, Andrew Neil, then John Wright, John Akers. Mark Keppel's going to come through in 6th, Dave Oliver for 7th. Bobby Camo, Jack Humphries, Warren Ibrett's going to hold off Greg Heaney. Reese Keenan, Eduardo Zamora. A photo finish there between those two. As they make their way around, Matt Avenel still fighting for 16th position here. Under pressure from Nathan Michael and Derek Fitzgerald. Jason Wilkinson home in 14th, Neil De Bruin 15th. Disappointment for him. That's, oh geez, Avenel's trying to keep it on the black stuff down the inside here. Potentially Nathan Michael. No, I don't think so. As long as Avenel can get around that final corner, he'll be right. Neil De Bruin back onto pit road, so he's going to finish the race on pit lane. That's weird.
Both De Bruin and Nathan Michael both had black flags in the final lap there. So it's another incident point copying.
Oh dear. Nathan Michael's still showing off track as well, so there might be an invoice coming his way and the results when we see them in just a few moments. Dear oh dear. Just a rate of attrition tonight and a race of survival and a test of character and skill and a real good advertisement for driving to the conditions. They needed to drive to the conditions to get themselves through to the checkered flag, and sometimes that requires a little bit of control, self-control with regards to, you know, speed that you carry. These are very fast machines at average speed or at least throttle modulation went a long way tonight if you're able to just, you know, balance the books nicely, that you were still getting around the circuit quickly enough, but you were doing so without running into trouble. You were rewarded. Luke Page didn't have the fastest time of the night. He didn't make it into the 210s. Cooper Friend, Paul Wood and a few others did. But Page did the one thing that a lot of people couldn't achieve, and that was stay out of trouble, avoid incident, avoid penalty. So well done to Luke Page. Victory is his. Kurt Nommensen we're about to hear from for the first time this year. Sam Woodhouse is going to come in and have a chat with us as well. And then Luke Page, Cooper Friend, Andrew Neil, John Wright, John Akers, Mark Keppel, Dave Oliver, Bobby Camo, Jack Humphries and Warren Ibe at the top 10 here. Apologies too, because the voice is still hoarse after the weekend that was. There's not much I can do about that. Greg Heaney, Reese Keane, Eduardo Zamora, Jason Wilkinson, Matt Avenel, and Derek Fitzgerald and Janash Ragwani with Paul Wood, Daniel Piper and Kurt Nommensen rounding out the top 20. Beyond that, you had... So, hang on. So, just in all of that, Nommensen only came home in 22nd. So, the two guys that have been pinged are Neil De Bruin and Nathan Michael. We're going to roll over the page now and see where the penalties that they've received to push them back to. Nommensen gets the top 20. De Bruin goes 24th. Michael goes 25th. The invoice, 35 seconds for them. So that's a costly way to end the race. But Paul Wood, Daniel Piper, Kurt Nommensen, then Daniel Cheney, Cameron Dakin, then Ben Goring, Neil De Bruin, Nathan Michael, Martin Lipsky, and then everybody else, forget about them. Put a line through them. 17 laps, so we hit the bingo number despite the fluctuating times and conditions. But we said we were not going to get anywhere near 22, and I'm very happy to be able to report that we were right with that prediction. Sam Woodhouse is here because he picked up the win in the AM feature race at Shell V Power Motorsport Park. They two only completing 17 laps. Nathan Harvey, Martin Davis, Dale Atkins, and Daz Miller, the top 5. Daniel Stone in there for 6. Troy Mortensen, Jesse McManaman, Tim Watson, and Tristan Koch, the top 10. We'll get to the pro split for you very shortly. Adam Lavis will start crunching some numbers. We'll get out of here before we get too waterlogged, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that because if it's raining in the museum, there's a good chance that it's actually tipping down in the commentary box. These boys have come in here to get dry, and really, that's not going to happen. They're getting tipped on from a great height. The iRacing rain model matrix might need just a little bit of a fine tune and tweak, so that when you're indoors and you're undercover, unless there's a burst pipe and a plumbing issue, that rain shouldn't be falling in the museum. But anyway, that's all right. So soaked and sodden was South Australia on the back of its heat wave. It's a nice change of weather conditions, particularly if your name is Luke Page. He's got the win tonight. Brooklyn Friend is here. Sorry, Bryden Friend, I should say. Hang on. I've got Bryden Friend in brackets Cooper, and I've got Cooper Friend on the leaderboard. So I'm going to say it's Cooper Friend.
Yep, that'd be right. Sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Kurt Nommenson, Paul Wood is here as well, our chief steward, and Sam Woodhouse too. Sam, stay with me for a moment. Kurt, you've inherited a top 20 finish, mate. That's nicely done. You're a little bit disappointed in the comment section a couple of weeks ago when we caught up with you last, but nice to see you survive what was best described as a deluge there in the feature. Truthfully, if that was a real world race, there's no way it would have been run.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't see the car in front of me, so it definitely would have been a red flag in that situation. But top 20 isn't too bad after Neil got me on his rejoin on lap 2. So yeah, I can't be too upset with that. I'd recovered pretty well. I had top 10 pace, I think, in the wet. The car was just, it felt really, really good. And if I wasn't making mistakes, I was just making inroads on all the cars in front of me.
Yeah, everyone's going to have a similar story, I think, mate. But the problem is, it's not your fault when you're getting cleaned up as a Dodgem car as collateral. That's just unavoidable. It could have been a completely different story had that not happened for you. But still, in all of that, top 20 is a good outcome. Good to catch up with you on air for the first time this year. How have you been keeping? How are you enjoying the challenge of the Aston in what is a Porsche-dominated field right now?
The Aston, it's a handful, but I'm really enjoying driving the car. The sound of it has got me hooked to the sound of the car, and I don't think I want to drive anything else. I've got some decent pace. It's a lot to learn with the car, but I'm really, really enjoying it.
And, I mean, obviously to go from bone dry conditions in the first race to the polar opposite for the second, everybody's in the same boat, thrown in the deep end. But how did you enjoy that challenge? Because obviously we've had races that go wet to dry to wet or dry to wet or whatever the case may be. But to have one dry and one wet, I think that's probably the preferred method.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think I did better in the wet. I'm not great around the bend in the dry, so being able to run around in the wet, I was actually having decent pace. And yeah, I think if I was gauging off Daniel Piper just in front of me, if I didn't make mistakes, I gained almost a second on him a couple laps there. So yeah, the car's really nice, and yeah, just it's good in the wet. That's the one thing I can say about this thing.
And obviously the first of 4 sprint rounds navigated now, mate. If we have a look at the rest of the schedule, you're getting pretty familiar with home tracks over the next few weeks. 3 and 4 of this mid-patch of the season are on home turf, including the 90-minute enduro from your split, which will broadcast on Feb 23. But the unknown entity is next week. I'm when I saw the calendar, mate, everything else was good, but I was particularly excited about Monza combined next week. What are your immediate thoughts on that?
If the races I've done just for a bit of fun or anything to go by, there's going to be a lot of death just coming back on from the oval section. Just it bounces the cars really aggressively, and if you're beside someone, it can cause a massive accident on a very, very narrow section of track.
Describe it for those of our audience that haven't seen it in action yet, mate, because obviously the old oval banking's been there for many, many years, and it's not used, I don't think, too much more in the real world. It's one of the great assets of the sim world, though. So explain it to us. How much of the current modern day Formula One circuit do we use, or is it a specific old school configuration on the main circuit as well?
It uses the entirety of the GP circuit, and it splits the front straight in half. So you have the pit lane on one side, which is going into the oval, and then you exit the oval back onto the front straight and take the Grand Prix circuit.
Oh, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, to coordinate that, you're going to have to be very careful of where you're pitting and when, and be very aware of the fact that you've got to go and do. I can see it happening, where somebody's going to end up going into the pit lane and then going onto the Grand Prix part of the circuit instead of the oval part, and vice versa. Someone will trip up next week.
You actually
and I'm
can't.
here for
It's solid.
You can't?
It's solid concrete wall.
Oh, excellent. Well, even better.
Yeah, so that's what
I'm
saying
just
that,
showing
when you
how
come off the
unfamiliar
oval,
I am with
yeah.
with the configuration right now.
Yeah, when you come off the oval, it's a pretty decent little lip, so it can unsettle the car. And if you're battling someone, it can cause an accident. You just make a little bit of contact over that lip.
I need to actually go and have a look. I'm sure it'll be somewhere online. Monza combined on iRacing, and just have a look at it, because it is going to be
I'll
one
hang
of the
around
more.
and pull it up for you, Zach.
Mate, thank you, mate. One of the more intriguing rounds of our Waste Options GT3 season, and then of course we're back to sprint mode in Adelaide.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Adelaide. I really like the Aston around Adelaide, so looking forward to that one.
Very nicely done. Hey, quickly, obviously, this is our first chance to catch up and have a chat on air, and it's nice to hear from you. What else are you throwing your hat into the ring for this season? Because I know last year, and I'm talking about the entire calendar year, not just obviously any specific term, that ongoing tussle between juggling work commitments and racing commitments was a bit of an Achilles heel for you, Kurt.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I got a new job now, and it's shift work, which has a bit of overnight work, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But if I can, it'll be the GT3s, Supercars, GT4 and P-Cup, just for a bit of fun. I'm not really aiming for any championships, knowing that work could just take me completely out of the running at any given moment.
Well, yeah, exactly. God bless outside commitments ruining our, personal life and our recreational time, mate. And how's everything else going, mate? I mean, obviously, we're looking forward to seeing you in GT3, but when circumstances permit, what else entices you about the GSRC schedule this term, please?
I'm just looking forward to driving a few different cars and just getting some seat time back in. Obviously, I had computer issues as well last year, as well as work commitments, so I had about 9 months where I couldn't race, so it's just nice to get back in and be back in the seat before I can start being, really competitive in any leagues.
Very nicely done, mate. The Aston, obviously a challenge, but we love a challenge. If you had your time over, would you have gone with the majority? Would you have followed where the interest was and gone with the Porsche or not?
No, I would have stuck with the Aston. I've been running it in the officials. We ran it for Daytona 24, so this is where I would have stuck my car.
All right, very nicely done. Good to catch up, mate. We'll do so again after the Enduro in a couple of weeks' time, because you guys will be front and centre for 90 minutes around Mount Panorama, so we're looking forward to that. Hopefully, a bit more of a fight taken to the Porsches, who locked out the top 5 in that feature, by the time we get there. But in the meantime, nice to hear from you. Have a good week.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep a friend. Second in all of that, as I said, survival of the fittest. Well done. Solid drive. And tell us a little bit more about Northwind Motorsport, firstly, because that's a bit of a new team name for us, GSRC regulars who've been here for 6 years. Northwind's a new name to the mould. But also tell us your thoughts on the treacherous nature of that second race, please.
Yeah, that was a very hard race. So I was leading it for a little bit. Young bloke, cold tyres, wet track. Went too hard, put it off, but no, I'm grateful for Northwind Motorsport. I literally got a message 3 days ago from them. They're like, hey, we saw that you've just joined GSRC, do you want to come race with us? So that's the first time I've driven a GT3 since last year's Bathurst 12 hour. Yeah, no, it was a good race, good racing, and I'm thankful for the opportunity I've got. I had Craig Bond flicked me a few messages over the past few months. He's been telling me to get into GSRC, and yeah, thought I'd join. It's good.
Tell me about whether or not that 37 minutes and the 21 in the dry before that entices you to do more GT3 running, mate?
100% going to do more GT3s. I was only planning on doing Porsche Cup because that's all I've really driven on iRacing. I got convinced to do GT3s, gave it a spin tonight, and I love it. So I'm looking forward to the next rounds.
What else would you like to have a dabble in as far as the GSRC is concerned, mate? I mean, you've probably seen the schedule. I heard you mention Bondi's name. He's all over that sort of stuff. I mean, there's so many different aspects to it, from GT4 to supercars to Porsches. What are your main interests when you're not running GT3?
Well, the goal, since I've been trying to spend like the next week or two to do every single combo. So I've done Legend Cars, GT4s, did Supercars, did Super Formula Lights earlier. So I want to do a bit of everything, but my schedule's real tight, you know, apprenticeship in real life, and yeah, late nights, but I'll try and get in on all of the action. But yeah, probably GT3, Porsche Cup, and a few rare appearances and something else.
I don't mind sharing this bit of information with you. The name Cooper is one that I've been bumping into all weekend, because we had the Battle of Cooper in Junior Heavy down at the Canberra Kart Club yesterday. Cooper Mitchell, Cooper House, and now we've got Cooper Friend as well. So there's plenty of Coopers doing the rounds in motorsport right now. Very popular name, it would seem. Apprenticeship real world, what are we talking about, and how far into it are we, please?
I'm doing a light vehicle apprenticeship, so I want to go work in race cars in the future, which
Good boy.
Who doesn't want to?
It's an addictive drug, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm in my second year this year, so loving it. But got into the apprenticeship and wanted to do race cars because I used to race karts as well. Cooper Mitchell's been a bit of a on-track enemy with me, although I've only done like one or two races against him. But we've got a little bit of beef in the sim racing world. But yeah, did karting for a bit. Moved to sim racing, and then decided to go work on the real deal.
Indeed, and it's not uncommon to have people. I mean, we have Dylan Shepherd as a prime example in our Porsche Cup field, who works on Porsche Cup cars with Sonic in real life, and of course dabbles in the sim as far as his own driving exploits are concerned. It's a very common juggling act these days. Not something we would have been saying maybe a decade ago. There's been a huge shift in the way we go about our business in the last 10 years. Of course, maybe more so the last 6 years, ever since the spicy cough pandemic took hold of the world and strangled it by the throat. As far as the bend was concerned, mate, where does it sit as far as racetracks are concerned? Is it one that you like, or is it one that you're happy to see the back of?
I mean, Bend in the wet is probably one of the hardest tracks I've done, and considering I only did about half an hour practice yesterday, I'm happy to put that one in the past, but I'll still definitely flick back to that in the future and reflect on that race. So it was a pretty good race. My goal was just to finish, and I did that, so look, I'm not complaining.
No, that's exactly right. I asked Kurt why did he go with the Aston. So, I mean, obviously, the Porsches are so popular this season. I must ask, what steered you towards them as opposed to one of the other 10 manufacturers we've got? And how much testing did you do with some of the other cars before you settled with the Porsche?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I joined Northwind about 2 days ago for a little trial, and they were doing a bit of practice, and there was one guy in the Mustang and everyone else was in the Porsche, so I'm like, I'll jump in the Porsche, give it a go, and they all had their all proper VRS setups and all the fancy stuff, and I went out on a baseline wet setup and went second fastest, and I'm like, alright, I'll call it a day and just run this car, and I don't know, it worked out pretty well.
It did indeed. Obviously, once you've got more time on your hands, no doubt, you'll have an opportunity to go and have a look at some of the other cars in the series. But yeah, at the moment, the Porsche seems to be the more prominent one and the more successful one as well. Next week, we've got Monza combined. As I said, I'm not terribly familiar with the whole layout there. I'm going to get my head around that shortly, thanks to Kurt. But will we see you on the grid for that?
I hope so. I don't actually think I've even driven Monza Combined, so I couldn't even tell you how to drive it or how to navigate it. But
Me both. Yep.
yeah, I'll give it a red hot crack, and yeah, hopefully see everyone next week.
Right, very nicely done. Good to catch up. Good to have you as part of the club. Welcome aboard. That's one of the great things about this part of the season. We're so early into the piece. We're still being introduced to some of the new names and some of the new faces of the club. We've got all our regulars. We've got some that have been gone, come and went. Some have come back. But we've always got some new names joining the fold, mate. So welcome aboard. Enjoy the ride. Good luck with the apprenticeship. Hopefully that goes well. And we look forward to seeing you pop up in more races as the term goes on. Go well.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
2.64 was the winning margin in the end. Luke Page, the race winner. Andrew Neal on the podium for Whiskey Business Racing, but he's obviously handed speaking duties to his team leader, Greg Heaney. We'll hear from him shortly. Sam Woodhouse, I want to go to you first, then to Woodsy and Mr. Heaney. The reason why I want to go to you was to say well done on the AM split success tonight, mate. Nice performance. We saw the sprint. We didn't see the feature, but you guys got the same rough end of the stick as far as the weather was concerned. How diabolical was it?
Zach, I've had showers that were drier than that race. that was awful. That was a tricky one. That was a very tricky one, I got to say.
He's been sitting there. He's had enough time up his sleeve, ladies and gentlemen, to rehearse that line, and he's just delivered it beautifully.
Don't know what you're talking about. No idea, mate.
Now, although that being said, I don't mind telling people. So last August, I went to Orange for a work commitment, and we had sleet during the day. We got back to the hotel that night. We couldn't get a shower hot enough, right? Canberra over the weekend, 41 degrees. Anyone that was there for the Festival of Speed or the Dunlop Kart Stars or anything else going on in the nation's capital will vouch for how hot it felt in the sun on Saturday, right? We executed our exit plan from the circuit to a T. We got out of there about 15 minutes after everything wrapped up. We got back to the hotel room, and the one thing we agreed upon was you couldn't get the shower cold enough just to get back down to temperature. So, no, I'm hearing where you're going. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Solid start of the AM season, mate. Good to see in that split, however, with you guys, much more manufacturer diversity than what we've currently got in Pro and Pro-Am.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's a bit of a mixed bag with what everyone's driving, and it's not Porsche dominated either. Like, I think pole for the first, I don't know, I didn't look too hard, but I saw there was an Audi in there that was quite high up. I know Dale's running the Acura. I saw a Corvette. I've seen Astons. It's a bloody mixed bag.
Indeed. Talk to me about just having that sudden shift from dry to wet. For me, like from when I was racing in karting days, I wanted it to be totally wet or totally dry, none of this in-between garbage. Some of the guys love it from a strategic standpoint when we do have those transitional races where it goes wet, dry, wet, or dry, wet, dry. But from your standpoint, where do you sit on that?
It's tricky. Personally, it 100% is tricky. I was quietly confident in my abilities in the wet at this track. I've been doing a lot of wet practice with the other Sender boys, so I was hoping for it to be absolutely pissing it down a little bit because that's most of the practice that we've done. So I was happy until the green flag went down, and then I realised this is going to be a bloody slog.
Indeed, but the other thing as well, mate, particularly in your split, the two observations we made earlier on, particularly in the dry race, was that the bend can be one of those circuits that's very car dependent as to whether it delivers a good show or not, right? That's no secret to anybody. They know my views on that. And we've seen evidence of that in the past. As I said, the Porsche race we had here last year that was 40 minutes felt like 40 years or 40 hours. It was a real struggle to sit through because everybody spread out. Great driving circuit, not necessarily the best racing circuit in the world. But there were two things that really saved it as far as you guys were concerned, I thought. And one was, A, the manufacturer diversity. Two, the particularly in the second race, I think the weather, that obviously spiced things up, and the same applies to the Pro-Am split, which we broadcast. But the third thing was the amount of small, minor hiccups for several drivers throughout the field. You were lucky in the sense that you were able to, relatively speaking, keep a clean set of heels.
Look, I don't think anyone drove a perfect race tonight. I think everyone was really struggling in both the dry and well, not really struggling, but I think everyone had their moments. I know I had a few, and yeah, it was a tricky one.
Now, obviously, it's nice to get a win on the board, nice to get some solid points. It'll be interesting to see what that means for the championship going forward. It was fairly tightly congested at the top of the leaderboard going into this round. It's still too early to really read too much into it. We'll start doing that when we get towards week 7, mate. But when we look at what the road ahead, how are you feeling about where things sit in GT3 AM and Monza combined next week?
Monza combined, I couldn't tell you anything about because I've never driven it. So I'm just going to gloss over that. As for GT3 AM, provided I stay in AM, I think I've got a good chance at fighting for a decent position towards the end of the season. Ideally, I'd like to go back up to Pro-Am and be with the rest of my team. It feels a bit lonely down there, so I'm hoping I can see them on track.
Speaking of on track, where else are we going to see you pop up? Or is it just a GT3 assault this term?
I wouldn't mind giving a Formula Series a go, but out of sim commitments, I'm studying full-time, I work part-time, so it's hard to get the time in, so I'm really locking in on the GT3s this season, I think.
And you mentioned too, mate, the other point that we should make here is wanting to get back up into Pro-Am. Does it worry you that, I mean, from a progression standpoint, that's great, but does it worry you that might also hinder title aspirations?
Look, I think I'll say the same thing I said to you a few seasons ago. I want to race the fastest guys that I can. I want to be competing against the fastest guys that I can. So, don't get me wrong, it is demoralising when you go from winning races to, fighting your heart out for 10th or 15th. That is tricky. But at the end of the day, that's how you progress as a driver. You've got to race the best to be the best, really.
Very nicely done, and a fair point too. We love the transparent honesty with regards to that one, mate. And I don't think anyone's here for, well, like, everyone's here for fun. But then if you're not here to test yourself and try and improve yourself, then I'm not necessarily sure what the assignment is and what the aspiration is. So it's nice to know where you sit with that, and nice to know that those goalposts haven't moved since the last time we had a chance to catch up. Well done tonight. Survival of the fittest.
Thanks,
as you say, you've had showers drier than that, and I have too, because you know what the problem is? Too much variance in terms of shower heads, and there's a big difference between the good ones and the rubbish ones, mate. Go and get amongst it. Well done. Look forward to catching up as the season goes on. Hopefully see you back in Pro-Am before the end of the term.
Great. Cheers, Zach. Appreciate it.
Paul Wood, I would hazard a guess that you echoed the sentiments of Sam Woodhouse just now with regards to how wet it was out there. But still nicely done, mate. You were able to get back to, once the penalties were applied to a couple of competitors around you, I think you've come back in 18th in that second race.
Yeah, that was an interesting race. Yes, very, very wet. I struggled in the beginning. I just could not see it. I couldn't even see the brake lights or the, what do they call the flashing lights in front of us, or the wet weather ones. So, yeah, I didn't realise, well, I knew the track was going to turn somewhere. By the time I actually could see anything again, I was heading off. So that kind of blew my start at the beginning there. But, yeah, after that, I had one little incident coming down pit straight. I decided to, Greg and all that started going in the pits. I thought, I'll have a look and see how much fuel I need, and decided to do that right as I was crossing the pit line and on exit, and yeah, decided to lock the wheels and spat me off into the wall. So that was pretty much my race done at that point. So after that, it was just climb back and try and recover as best I could. So yeah, it's I'm glad that's behind me. Let's put it that way. That was way too wet and not the most enjoyable race.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, let's be perfectly honest. You did have that scrape of the wall we saw on replay there, exit stage left on the run down to turn 1. How much damage did you sustain in that, Woodsy?
Felt like it pretty much tore the wheel off. I could barely keep the car straight, so it was just a trundle around until I could get it back to the pits. Didn't want to turn left at all, basically. So, yeah, it was not good. So, yeah, at that point, I kind of knew my race was over, but I just thought, oh, I'm just outside the top 25, so I'll keep going, and if I'm lucky, I'll get some points back. But, yeah, then somehow it's I managed to set the fastest lap, I think. So, yeah, that one there, we were actually talking to each other there as we're going past, and he's going, no, come past, you're faster. And I went, okay. And then, yeah, I pushed him right off the track because I couldn't stop the car. I'm like, wow. So I still did the redress. But yeah, that was a very sweaty, very hard working round.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing as well, I mean, we were mentioning earlier, yeah, Cooper just verifying that he did this whole race on 30 frames per second as opposed to the other options that you've got at your disposal there. I think our frame rate's 30 FPS in Discord here as well, mate. So, yeah, I don't envy you guys in the slightest. The fact that Cooper was the guinea pig, he was, first on scene and managed to survive it. He did very, very well. With regards to what you were saying there, though, Woodsy, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I was talking about dry or wet. Where do we stand on, how we like our weather-affected races? But there's a difference between a comfortable wet, like an intermittent sort of intermediate wet, and what you guys contended with tonight. There was a little bit of a let-up there partway through, but then it got heavy again, and it became very evident that it was going to be a tough slog.
Yeah, you all know my opinion on weather. Like, I don't mind the wet weather, and I'll race it, but that sort of wet weather there tonight is, it's not really racing to me. That's just trying to survive. It's just dancing around. Like, the only reason I set that fastest lap, because even a couple of guys in Discord go, was that you said it? And I said, yeah, it's amazing when you actually get all your frames back and you have some clear air in front of you can see the track, but you can actually set some time. But yeah, that was way too wet, especially for this track. I think it would have been a very fun and interesting race if we'd have had a sort of I don't even know whether you class a little medium wet track as opposed to that was just basically a monsoon. But yeah, it's not enjoyable in my books, but it's done. It's a race. We have to deal with it. We all had the same conditions, so yeah, it's. I'm just happy I finished the race, but yeah, I didn't have any high expectations as for high positions by the end. Let's put it that way.
No, not at all. 30 frames per second, a single monitor, and a dream. Oh dear. I know what it's like to have a half dodgy sort of setup, and I'm not taking my 3 monitor 27-inch screen per monitor setup for granted at the moment, mate, because I've been there when the setup has been less than ideal, so I can relate to that. Woodsy, obviously, the other thing as well, you're in the Merc. It's a very Porsche heavy field, but I guess you can take some sort of comfort in the fact that you were the first Merc across the line tonight, were you not?
I believe it was. Was I the only Merc in the field? I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that, but since you did, yeah.
So I got there by default. Woohoo! Hey, a win's a win.
But you got to finish it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Look, it's each round. I'm enjoying the Merc, as you know. It's always been a favourite of mine, but it's definitely hard work against those Porsches. It just seems to have advantages in each aspect. So it's can outbrake me, seems to rotate really well, and just the speed of the Porsche getting out of corners, it's just making it very hard to get anything done. So it's going to be a hard slog of a season. So yeah, look, let's see how we're going, whether I actually get anywhere with the season. But yeah, right now, look, I'm enjoying the racing, enjoying the car. Would it be nice to have a bit more diversity in the field? Yeah, that'd be nice, but yeah, it is what it is. That's where we're at the moment. So we keep slugging away, and I'll just try and wrangle every bit of performance I can get out of this car. So yeah, let's bring on the rest of the weeks and let's see how we go.
All right, very nicely done. Monza combined next week. Your thoughts?
I have never actually raced it, so I have no idea. Hopefully it'll be fun, but look, Monza is not one of my high-ranking tracks. It's it's one of those tracks that if you can get out and get clear air, you'll do well. If not, it breeds chaos, even though it's a fairly wide open track. But just those chicanes always seem to breed big accidents, and if you get caught up, it's sort of race-ending stuff. So, yeah, look, I'll just see again if I can try and keep up with these Porsches, because they're just absolutely blitzing it in a straight line. So the only reason I've been able to keep up the last couple of weeks is just through draft, just using them to drag me along. So if I can do that again next week, maybe get a result or something, but we'll see how we go, and yeah, we'll see where we stand come the end of next week.
What else is on the Paul Wood racing radar between now and then?
So this season I'm doing GT4s, Porsches, and GTEs. A little bit of
And very GT heavy too. How are you finding GTE?
I love racing GTEs. They're a very fun car. I back in the old BMW, which I haven't raced that for a good probably 5 years or so, and they're really missing and going. I'm surprised the cars are not more popular than what they actually are, because they're a fun car to drive, and they've got enough of a challenge without having the ABS that it just adds that little bit of talent in regards to making sure you don't lock the brakes. So yeah, all in all, it's been good. We raced here on Friday at this track, first time we've done the full one, and yeah, it was a handful, but even though I wasn't looking forward to it, I did enjoy the race, and it was dry, so that was much better. But yeah, look, it's been a fun season so far, so I'm looking forward to the rest, especially when we start getting into some of the longer races. So yeah, it's been good.
And still to come, of course, for GT3 at least, is some street racing in a couple of weeks too, on the Adelaide Parkland circuit. How familiar are you with that one, apart from what you've seen on the telly? Have you at least downloaded the circuit yet, Woodsy?
I have. We did a little photo shoot with the boys before the season, so we actually managed to get some laps in there, which I was in the BMW GTE, so I enjoyed it. I haven't turned a lap in anything else, so we'll see how we go. But look, I enjoy the street circuits, always have. So I think that makes good racing, or even though you're death on a stick if you hit a wall. But yeah, look, bring it on. As long as everyone's sensible, especially coming into that first chicane, I think it'll be a good race.
Very nicely done. Anything else to add to that, mate, or should we let you go to the steward's room and just dot the I's and cross the T's with the reports that have been submitted this evening?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's, for me, put this one in the history books, and yeah, just take the little points that I got. It's probably not a lot, but like I said, I'm happy I come away with the fastest lap. I don't know where it come from. I just was concentrating and got it there, so I'll take that as a mini win for me for the night, and we'll move on. And yeah, then I'll go and drown my sorrows looking at the report sheet.
Yeah, exactly. Good to catch up, mate. Well done. I think all the reports are going to have one thing in common. A single vehicle driver incident caused aquaplane. Because by gee, there was a lot of standing water out there tonight. Good to catch up with you, buddy. Thank you for that. Well done, and we'll catch up later in the week.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, now on the subject of drowning sorrows with drinks, let's get to whiskey business racing. Hello, Greg Keating. Good to see William Yarwood out there in GT3 Pro-Am earlier. Sorry, GT3M, I should say. I think it was earlier when we were showcasing those boys on screen. Nice collaborative connection link now between his real world and his sim world, with his karting business now planted pride of place on your whiskey business racing liveries. But also, let's have a chat about your race, please, because you made the replay reel twice in one lap for venturing onto the grass, which, given the current livery predominant colour on your race cars, gave us some camouflage moments, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, from what I can see coming up on the YouTube, so I'm not actually watching out of stream, lap one, I couldn't see a thing. Like, it was like driving in Braille. I know the road's here somewhere. Okay, the road's not there because now I'm on the grass. So, yeah, it was, echoing Woodsy's comments, it was like pea soup out there. I don't know how I didn't run into anybody on the approach to turn one. It was just a wall of white. And then, yeah, coming around to turn 5, I'm like, I know the road's here somewhere, I just can't see it. And then all of a sudden I'm on the grass.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but in a survival of the fittest, mate, you were able to come through and at least I believe, finish the thing. Certainly not ideal, but a better outcome than some, of course, faced this evening. Your thoughts on the first race, the one that we didn't see, and then obviously the seismic shift in weather conditions between the two?
Yeah, race 1 wasn't too bad. Qualified inside the 10, so I was happy with that. And then had a little bit of a moment at turn 6. I think it might have been one of the Northwind cars. I'm not entirely sure. I know it was in my mirror, and then it was in my left rear quarter panel. Coming into turn 6 towards the middle of the race. Unfortunately, where it happened and where I ended up, I didn't really have the ability just to click it back into first gear and get going again, because I would have wiped out another half a dozen cars trying to turn the thing around. So I had to back it up and get going again. So I ended up dropping towards the back of the grid, hence why in this one I was starting back down near 22nd, I think. But yeah, no, apart from that, I knew it was going to be wet. I knew practice was going to be wet. I just didn't think it was going to be this wet. Had it been the moderately wet state that we had for practice, I probably would have been on a good pace. I think I was practice pace. I think I was second overall. So, but yeah, then the amount of standing water that was out there, it was just a case of, okay, where's the grip? There was almost no grip. But then I know Andrew mentioned somewhat towards the middle of the race, he's like, they're pulling it up so well on the racing line coming into turn 1. I'm like, sorry, what? So then a couple of laps later, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll put the car on the pit exit coming down to turn 1, and it actually stopped like there was grip, even though there's that amount of water on the road, which was just strange.
Yeah, race line at turn 1 was great. I was doing it all race.
So, natural order of things is like, well, it's so wet, I'm going to drive off the racing line. And it's just like, it didn't seem to be working all the best in turn 1. So, but then when Andrew mentioned that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just over there now. And yeah, Kurt's right. It was working fantastic.
Kurt Nomenson's still in the house, of course, and good to have him here. Greg, the rest of the team, mate. I mean, I've got a couple of questions here. One, great to see Andrew Neil have a solid run in that race. The other point, too, I just want to let everybody else at home know, for some reason now, and I don't know what it is, but we've had the problem for about 3 months. There's been no quick fix to it. We used to be able to keep the results here locked, loaded, stock and barrel, from the end of the race right through the post-race show. There's now a point in the replays where the live timing screen just decides to do its own thing and have a mind of its own. So I couldn't actually give myself any sort of relative with regards to Greg's sprint feature result, and it was 11th. So it was a good recovery despite those two off-track skirmishes. Thank you, Adam Lavis. Appreciate that. On the subject, though, Luke Page, privateer. For whatever reason, I need to ask about that, because for some reason I'm getting some, my memory's not my strong point, Greg. It's not great, but I thought he was in your stable once upon a time, was he not?
No, that's Luke King.
Oh, Luke King, right. See, this is why I'm clarifying things, because I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, he's up in the pro split.
Yeah. All right, well, in that case, then you probably, now that Luke Page is winning wet races, you probably need to have a conversation with him, see if you can't recruit him.
Well, yeah.
Have you done any recruitment recently, by the way?
We've had a couple of changes here and there, but we did pick up Jeff Adams over the off season. He's jumped on board with us for everything but Porsche.
Yeah.
So he's still running under the subpar banner with himself and Richard for Porsche Cup.
Right.
But for everything else, he's running alongside with us. So similar to Matt Schmidtke, running with us in GT3, but then running everything else with AER.
Yep.
So.
All right, very nicely done. But in saying that, and Neil's in the comments now as well.
Yeah.
Good
you
run.
Started that.
Yeah, I know. I did indeed, deliberately. Bad luck for Nathan Michael. Talk to me about the rest of the stable, though, because you're well represented in both this split and also AM. But as you've said as well, you've got representatives up in the Pro Split too, mate. A good turnout of Whiskey Business Racing cars, as always.
Yeah, I think we had 4 guys on the grid in Pro. I didn't quite see how many guys actually showed up for AM, but I know we had, I think, 5 or 6 cars on the grid here in Pro Am. So yeah, we had a good spread across all splits. So Nathan unfortunately copped a black flag penalty on, I think, the last lap for, I think it was incident point count, being it was as slippery as it was out there. So it was unfortunate for him that he would not have been able to serve that. So iRacing would have stung him the 40 seconds or whatever it does for not completing the black flag penalty post race. So. But yeah, we've got Ben on track as well, Ben Garinge. We picked him up as well in the off-season. He's also joining us for the PEL series that is for us kicking off this coming Sunday. So that'll be interesting. I think we've got 8 cars on the grid over there, so we're going to be very well represented. But back here, it was a good result from everybody, and very good to see Andrew concentrating enough to actually make it through the entire race. His concern is that if he gets distracted, he'll end up in the wall. So he did well to make it through tonight.
Well, mate, I was going to say, have we now found a new wet weather master within your team? Or is this just a night in which he's been able to string it all together and he'll count his chickens and consider it, luck? Or is it something else, Greg? Are there more ingredients to this puzzle?
Oh, I think he's done really, really well. And I think it all just clicked for him tonight. Like, I'm normally pretty confident myself in the wet, but tonight it just didn't fit right. It was just too wet for me.
Yep.
For the most part, I felt it was all right. I mean, going through the never-ending right-hander, it was pretty much sideways the whole. It felt like it wanted to just go sideways the whole way around. Like, you're on traction control all the way through it as soon as you came out of turn 6. So. But, look, it is what it is. We move on to next week and bring on Adelaide.
He's chasing butterflies as we speak, he says, Andrew Neal. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about that. But it's interesting too because, I mean, obviously, we can go back and look through the archive and look at some of those breakout performances, those throw the form guide up, tear the form guide up and throw it out the window results. We've seen it, absolutely. Like, I have no idea what I'm meant to do in the wet. So, and obviously there's a few other people that feel the same way, Andrew. But, Bondi, he quickly reminds me every time I talk about him being a wet weather, race winner. He was like, that was a one-off, don't put the pressure on me, etc., etc. I just got lucky, right strategy, right place, right time, etc. So all those things add up and contribute in the long run. Rest of the week's looking good, mate. Tell me about that, what it looks like from a team standpoint as far as racing's concerned, and then, of course, how are you all feeling about Monza Combined?
So we haven't really spoken much about Monza Combined, though I have driven it a couple of times. Echoing Kurt's point again, it's going to be a very fast circuit. I'm pretty sure on the combined layout, I have to refresh my memory, but Kurt will bring it up with you after.
Yep.
As the combined circuit, I'm pretty sure it actually takes out the first and second chicane. So it is absolute foot to the floor all the way from the start-finish line,
There's
which
two
is on
layouts to that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's going to come
Ours
down
has
to the top.
we have the chicanes for next week.
Oh, we do? Oh, okay. So, yeah, it's still going to be very, very fast approach to turn 1, but you've got half the amount of road to work with whilst you're parallel to the pit lane.
Yeah. Oh,
and then it fans out after the pit lane to actually have the approach into turn 1 for the braking zone.
So since Kurt's still here, and he might be able to clarify this for everybody at home, because now that you're saying about the wall being there, between the oval, joining point and the rejoin point to go on to the Grand Prix circuit. Because obviously when you look at that circuit now, there's that big wide main straight. So I'm envisaging that wall straight down the middle. But does that mean it's makeshift and it just get moved in and out by the powers that be at the circuit when it needs to be used? Is that what they do?
Pretty much. It's as if they just we're just going to divide this straight down the middle.
Street circuit.
Yeah, right.
It's just those concrete barriers that they can pick up and move.
With the
rather
catch
them than me.
No, I don't think there's a catch fence on it either.
Oh,
No.
it's very minimal. It's like maybe like 30 centimeters tall or some shit. It's tiny.
Might not pass the pub test, the safety test these days, but that's all right. Very good stuff. Greg, the rest of the week, as far as your participation is concerned, what does it look like?
Rest of the week, at this point for me, it's going to be Legends on Wednesday, because those things are an absolute hoot. So we're back, I'm pretty sure back here with them on Wednesday on the sprint version of the track. So half the length of turn one and then throw a hard right and then come back around onto the back section of the international layout closest to the front straight. The V8s are here as well. I won't be partaking in those. I'm focusing on the Legends on a Wednesday, but we should have, I think, 4, maybe 5 cars on the grid for that. And then Porsches on Thursday and GTEs on Friday.
Very nicely done. How are you enjoying the GTE series? And secondly, the supercars at the moment. Interesting too, because obviously we're getting a very different looking field at the moment, because some of our guys would normally be that are normally on the grid, I should say, trying to qualify for the Pro Series at the moment, or involved in that in some way, shape, or form. Yeah,
I mean, we had that previously as well when the Pro Series was on, when they had their qualifiers and their actual races on. So we do have the occasional week here or there where the grid will be a little bit smaller than what we have had on weeks prior. So, I mean, for our guys that aren't trying for the Pro Series, it's going to be obviously better points finishing for them and so on like that. So, and that's for the entire GSRC, not just my own teammates, but it's I mean, for those that turn up and don't have the interest into going for the Pro Series, it's going to give them a better finish result in the end for the series we run. But yeah, I think that's for us. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but in terms of grid size, it certainly mixes things up a bit.
It certainly does indeed. Hey, very nicely done. Good to catch up with you, my friend. I just looked at the clock and I thought, oh God, 6 minutes to 11. We're over time and we've still got to run through the GT3 Pro results and points and everything else yet. So we'll start to wrap it up. Thank you for that. Well done. Good to catch up, and we look forward to doing so again later in the week.
No worries. Catch you later.
Right, there he is, the one and the only Greg Heaney. Pro split, let's go there if we can, please, Adam Lavis, and then we'll have a look at the point situation. The pro split results for you. Kurt's going to stick around, and Charles Mons are combined after the broadcast here, and I'm sure he wants some sleep as well at some point, and I've got home and away in Australian Idol to watch, so we'll rip through this as quickly as we can. Eli Donaldson on top of the pro split tonight at Shell v Power Motorsport Park from Alexander Barrelon on Lewis Greathead, Aidan Luthwaite, Marcus Watson. What a star-studded top half of the leaderboard that is. Josh Horton, Ryan Jones, Jeff Adams, Paul Rogers, Luke King, the top 10. Only 0.8 of a second covering the top 10. Race 1 for you. Contested over, well, they only made it to 12 as well. So, okay, Adam Lavis might have to do some amendments to the lap counter there when we go there next time.
Yeah, I've already seen, because we hadn't been here before on GT3s, I did a Google search and it gave me a dodgy time. So apparently Google thought they were going to do a 1 minute 29 or something. I was like, that's streaming.
Indeed. Eli Donaldson winning Heat 1, 0.4 the margin over Alexander Barrelon. Marcus Watson there, 11 seconds back. Aidan Luthwaite 4th, then Josh Horton, Ryan Jones, Jeff Adams, Josh Fitt, James Glasspool and Paul Rogers. See, not all calculators are perfect, Adam Lavis. They would have also contended with the rain in Heat 2. What does it mean for us? Let's have a look. Eli Donaldson prevailing. So a good night out for Eli Donaldson. Solid, in fact. 2:15 the average lap time there, 2 at 11.7 the best for Lewis Greathead. So some of the guys in the Pro-Am split were actually more competitive time-wise. They got better conditions. They were actually a little bit faster than 2:11.7. Josh Fitt, Jordan Pianazola, Rodney Gollan, Alexander Barrelon, and Alan Dawson, the top 10. Brian Jones, a good result. Podium for him in GT3. I think that's a first. Good to see Aidan Luthwaite back in the thick of it as well. But Eli Donaldson, solid. Very good outing for him as far as points haul is concerned. Let's have a look at those if we can. Adam, where do you want to start, please, mate? You guide me and I'll follow.
I've only got Pro and Am. Not Pro Am still being worked on.
Copy that. All right, well, let's go there then and remind everybody of what the picture looks like. See, Eli Donaldson with that clean sweep of the night pole and the 2 race wins has taken the points lead. 133 plays Alexander Barrel on 126, Josh Fitt 110, Jeff Adams 109 and Lewis Greathead 98. Aidan Luthwaite down there in 6th place. Second appearance for the series for him and up to 90 points already, and already burnt 1 drop round, of course, but still right in the thick of it. 43 points off the leader, and there's still plenty on the table up for grabs. Austin Edwards makes up the top 10. Alan Dawson, Aaron Schotter, and Jordan Pianazola in between that. And look at that. Interesting to note that there's 2 Fords, a Merc and an Aston in the top 10, but it's a sea of Porsches otherwise. Only 14 of them in the top 20 at this particular point. Good points all for Ryan Jones as well, up plus 15. So that's not too bad either. All right, we'll let Adam Labour. Yep.
And just FYI, what Marcus turned up in a Lambo tonight, so he had an extra car to the grid.
Oh, true. That's a very good point too. And that'll have an impact on points hauls and other things as well. Dale Atkins leads the AM split at the moment by 4 points over Martin Davis, Braden O'Loughlin 124, Nathan Harvey 123, Jesse McMenamin 111, Tristan Koch 99, Sam Woodhouse 93, Tim Watson 88, and Anthony Cuthbertson 83 points. Robert Gay makes up the top 10. And look at that. Acura, Porsche, Lambo, Mercedes, Audi, McLaren, and also Chev. 7 different manufacturers in the top 10 there at the moment. How's that for diversity, huh? Very nicely done. We do it with thanks to Waste Options, Disruptive Labs, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. And on the subject, actually, I was catching up with, I had a very long chat, extended yarn with a good mate of the club, and a very funny member of the club, Semi Stride, on Thursday afternoon, where I'd normally be getting ready for our broadcast, of course. Stride gave me a call out of the blue just to catch up and see what it was like working with a 21st century computer machine. And we shot the breeze for a good 2 hours, and he's never short of stuff to talk about, and it's always a laugh. But he said, make sure you give Richo, because obviously Richo's Disruptive Labs, big supporter of the club, big supporter of what we do. But he said, make sure you give him heaps. Throw the bait, get him involved in the conversation next time you're on air, and tell him I said to do so, and that'll get the conversation started. So, Stridey, I've ticked that box for you. Hopefully Richo gets the message. Good on you, mate. We hope you're well, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. Let's have a look at what comes your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. Now, Wednesday night, the boys are here for Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for 2 sprint races, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time for the Oz Legends Cup. Trophy AI Supercars from the same venue, Motorsport quadruple on Wednesday night because it's full sprint racing, and we're looking forward to that immensely. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, 2 sprint races, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the Supercars, and looking forward to that. Before that, non-broadcast, Miami International Autodrome on the EM Loop. That's 40 minutes there for the Downforce Legends tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed by the third of the categories heading to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park this week, the GSRC Retro Formula 1 Championship for 40 minutes from 9:15 Eastern. Now, make a note in your diary. Friday at this stage, all going to plan, all being fair and equal. Adam Lavis are going to be here with you on Friday because we're going to replay last week's Porsche racing and then bring you this week's as well. We're also going to do the same for GT4. Miami International Autodrome, first time there. That's the new venue, apart from the Bend, of course. But this is also one of the 2 new venues that have made their way into the iRacing Caper in the last short while. And we're looking forward to seeing this one in action. 2 sprint races, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. on Thursday night is when they're actually going to be run in the real world, time-wise, and then Imola for the Porsches. But what we're going to do is, because Adam Lavis and I have got to collaborate when we're going to be available around each other's schedules, also allowing him the flexibility to go and race on the Thursday night in this absence, in this little period where we're waiting to still get a Thursday night broadcast coordinator, producer, director on board permanently. Again, we're going to bring you a replay of last week, because I wasn't able to because I was on a flight to Canberra, and this week, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on Friday. So it's going to be a marathon broadcast. We'll do them back to back. We'll bring you 3 races from last week's Porsche round of the 4. Remember, they're in 2 splits at the moment, Open and Elite. We'll bring you both the GT4 races from Miami. We'll bring you their round last week as well. We'll bring you the 40-minute race from Imola for the Porsches from, well, we'll toss a coin. It'll either be the Open or the Pro Split on that occasion. And we'll do that all on Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Hope you can join us for that. Friday night, GTE. So it'll be a bat and change. We'll be out. Joe Baldwin and Liam Banks will be in. GTE from the Adelaide Street Circuit. That will be fun. 45 minutes, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Then Saturday, 32 laps at Bathurst in the Mountain Men phenomenon, that ongoing Saturday night tradition. They'll spin the world Friday night, boys. We'll do that to determine the car of choice for that occasion. And 32 laps, 200 kilometres, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday night. Next Monday, Donington Park National. Donington Park National for the Super Formula Lights. It's the second of the 5 sprint rounds in that series, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Then on to Monza Combined, a 60-minute affair there, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We cannot wait. That'll be one of the longest circuits we go to this campaign, if not the longest, for GT3 at least. And it's the first time we've had a GT3 series points-paying round on that configuration of the Monza circuit. And on the subject, you've got to see the Porsche racing from Monza that was held last Thursday night, this Friday afternoon, to whet the appetite for next Monday. It's a whole love affair of Monza at the moment, but you've got to see that to believe it, from what I've been told by Adam Lavis so far. So we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to a lot more on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So make a note in your diary. It's a marathon day with us on Friday. We're here Wednesday as well. We're here next Monday. And hopefully normal programming on Thursday nights will resume in due course. On behalf of all the crew here, hope you enjoyed it. The first night of competition and broadcast for the month of February. The last month of summer. The third week of Term 1. Done and dusted. Plenty of different race winners tonight. Plenty to celebrate. Plenty of drying off to be done. Plenty of track sweeping. They've got to get the Super Sopper out at the bend to clear all the standing water. That was a wet, soaked and sodden affair. But to be fair, I think that probably produced a better spectacle than what it would have been if it was a dry race, given what we know about the way this race track plays, particularly in the bigger, more horse-powered tin-top cars. We've seen a couple of very processional affairs around here. We had anything but that tonight. We just didn't know what was going to happen next. Drivers were tested for the full brunt of that 37 minutes. Very little in the way of multiple vehicle wrecks. It was more just single vehicle incidents tonight. Everybody tripping up on the standing water, the white lines and the grass around the Shell V Power Motorsport Park. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, I hope you enjoyed it. Felt weird not to go around the grounds tonight, but we'll be able to do that again next Monday night because the Winter Olympics will be up and away from Milano Cortina in Italy. Look forward to that. Look forward to the rest of week 3. Look forward to seeing you Wednesday night, Friday afternoon, Friday night as the opening term of 2026 continues. Until then, from the crew, enjoy what's left of your Monday evening, everybody, and we look forward to your company later in the week. I'm Zach Cabin on behalf of Adam Lavis, all the crew here. It's bye for now.